Board Boys.
Yep. Oh, you left off Joshua.
Oh, I was
right,
like, I know there's more that I can't remember. Yeah, he's a better choice, obviously.
Oh my god, that would be so... Nah, it would need to be Estelle. To get a...
No,
bring in
but
a Trails character.
but the actual joke
It
is
wouldn't fit the
obviously...
joke.
Yeah. At this point, they'd probably do...
It would be Reen.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right.
Because they only like the recent characters now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make a fart noise or something.
I mean, that's just my general thoughts of Smash altogether. There you go. Rhett just subscribed. That perfectly timed Smash fart.
Go, I'm in too. I love the new cover art.
It's pretty good.
Yep.
I like it. I got like
Nice.
5 or 6 more just ready to go. Like, we are 3 months ahead covers wise.
Oh, I guess that's actually a lot, yeah.
Yeah. That Doug one is probably my favorite.
Yes,
The
that's
think,
very
the
good.
think big one. No, that one's probably my favorite.
Can you
Like all of them.
Yeah, they're all good.
Oh my
Obviously.
god, I'm such a dipshit. I'm sorry, Polly. I just went to the site and was like, oh, right, the Marilyn Manson podcast.
Oh yeah,
It
we
was
did
very
that.
good.
We did that.
Yep, I really enjoyed it.
It was amazing.
I really enjoyed it.
It was amazing that we didn't end up going like 7 hours or something.
Yes.
Given
you had to cut it punchy.
Yeah, we recorded for about, I think, 2.5 hours, and it's a podcast where I actually did go back and I edited it while putting it together. So it needed to be a bit more punchy. I felt so I kept it like, yeah. I excised some stuff, but nothing that's like, vital or couldn't be lived without. But it's just like some tangents that maybe have went nowhere or things like that. But
No, that's smart. Those are the kinds of, when you put that kind of work into it, it makes it the kind of podcast where it's like, oh, I could just listen to these over like many times, just like every couple of years. But I kind of feel like re-listening to those Manson podcasts.
Yeah, whereas this garbage that we do here is disposable trash that I don't have to put any editing into at all. Like, I just literally like, look, okay, here's a snip point, here's a snip point. I already have like the transitions set up in a template file that I drop them into.
Perfect. Beautiful.
Nice.
Every now and then someone will be like, yeah, listen to that one. And I'll be like, oh, whoa.
Oh, wow.
Cool. I had at least one friend that said, I'm starting from the beginning. And I was like, oh.
Why would... No, those original ones are kind of bad.
I cannot speak to I cannot speak to who I was as a person. I cannot speak to the quality of my thoughts at the very least.
Yeah, it was a little different back then. A little different.
Yeah. I used a rock band mic.
Yeah. Oh man.
God.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I imagine all of us sounded quite a bit different back then, except me, because like I've been using the same microphone for 5 years.
Wait a minute, were we going to do anything fancy or just use Skype?
We're just using Skype. We didn't get together and do
lazy.
anything because everybody was busy. So
we'll
get it at some point, I'm sure, but this is not the time. Just like how we didn't actually think of how are we doing game of the decade? I don't know. Fuck it, we'll figure it out next time.
Yeah.
Like Rhett's over here too busy. His mind is so far up anime of the decade's ass. I can't get him to think of anything else.
He's going to have the most well-informed view of any of us.
I kind of broke last night of like, listen, okay, I think I've kind of hit a saturation point of watching these shows. Now
let's watch a different anime. Let's watch a new to me anime.
Yeah.
Let's rewatch the first season and then watch the new season.
No, I didn't even do that.
Oh man, Red, slacking.
Yeah.
Because that show came out like in 2018. It's fine. I remember it.
Okay.
There's like one of the shows I was like, oh, I should rewatch that was like Promised Neverland. And it's like, that came out this last summer.
Yeah, that's probably recent enough.
It's recent enough, dog. You don't have to rewatch literally everything on your list.
Right.
I'm literally like, oh, Attack on Titan. Season 2's out. I can just start with season 2, right? I watched the first one in 2014. I can probably just
honestly with that one. I think you'd be fine.
Yeah, it's not too complex. I think.
Yeah, I got to a
point in the story. It's not that complex.
Yeah, and I just kind of decided at some point, man, I am just not watching season 3, am I?
Are you out or
I
just
think
waiting
I'm just
for it to
out.
end?
I think I'm just out. I went if for some reason when I went and started thinking about Animu, this week for some reason, I was just looking at my list of things that I need to watch, and Attack on Titan 3 was there, and I was just like, man, I just don't give a fuck. It just hit me with so much apathy that I was just like, yeah, I think I'm done here.
No, I've been there. I feel you.
Okay, I'm not gonna bug you about it right now. I want to see how season 4 goes.
Yeah, that's kind of what
I'm probably gonna be bugging you afterwards.
It might turn around, but as of right now, at the
thing
end
is,
of season 2, I'm just kind of yeah, I don't really care.
There's a reason people all started freaking out and loving that show again with the back half of season 3. It really does turn around.
Yeah, my thing is just once the last season is out, and if some people watching, it's oh yeah, it lands really good, then that's time to.
Yeah, I'm willing to. I'm willing to give it that.
It's weird for me doing the decade list because it is so up in the air right now.
Yeah.
Because it's boy, you have you've shot a layup. Let's see if it actually lands in the next decade.
Yeah, with Made in
Abyss. That show ends with 2 episodes that are just here's what's actually happening. It is the biggest lore dump I've ever seen. It's fucking incredible.
They finally go to the basement after 800 years.
They do go to the basement.
Okay,
and then there's a fucking lot down there.
Uh-oh. You know what? I bet they won't find down there. They're not going to find Sockscast episode 110.
Oh my God. Forgot we were doing a podcast for people. We were just chatting about anime.
I mean, like we always do.
Yeah.
Like we always do. So, episode 110, that's 10% towards 200.
That's true.
Think about that. How quickly those
it's 110% towards 200.
Exactly.
It's 200. I always feel 100 is a big deal because you're hitting 3 digits, but then 250 is kind of the next milestone.
You think 250 is the next milestone?
Because then you're a quarter of the way towards 1,000, and that's fucking crazy.
Halfway towards 500.
You don't think 200 of something is a big deal when they're 3 hours long?
I think 200 is a big deal, but I always feel 250 kind of gets celebrated a bit more in things.
I think every 100 episodes is a milestone, and then 250 is an additional milestone because it's halfway to 500.
Yeah.
So it's 100, 200, 250, 300, 400, 500, 420.
420, obviously.
No, we skipped 420 episode for when I first do weed.
Yeah. That's going to be great. Because that's going to be what? Let's see. It took us 5 years to do 100.
Oh, God. Oh, don't even do the math on that. Now I'm scared. We're going to be 60.
And still doing this bullshit.
Because we love each other.
I mean, John won't, but we will.
What? No, I love y'all.
He'll get fired at some point. It's
okay. It's y'all's
It almost happened this last year. With Shovel Knight.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Oh my God. Well, of course, we are brought to you as always by Moon Pies. Moon Pies, the Kingdom Hearts of snack cakes. To my immediate virtual right, what do I think of next? It's Rhett.
Hi.
Hey.
I can't think of anything besides anime right now.
I wonder why. I bet we'll probably get
can you speak Japanese to me?
I could.
Arigato. Oh, gee.
I could, but I'm not a show-off.
Nice.
To my immediate virtual left, Remix! It's John Thayer.
Hi, Polly. Hey, can you smell that? It's the smell of victory.
Oh shit! Did you do it?
Nope, but it's close. I can smell it. It's so close. It's tantalizing, isn't it? It's the odor. It's the sweet nectar of victory. Is so close. It's just wafting away. And any minute, it's gonna be right within my grasp. I'm gonna snatch it and then chow down. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be so sweet.
Are you just gonna stream after we do the podcast?
Probably not. I'm probably gonna just play Switch. Just be like, I might. That would be fun.
Yeah. I just want like a 6-hour stream where it's like you win and this ends, or you don't stop till you win.
I want that 6 a.m. delirious John Thayer energy. I want that Welcome to the Machine stream energy. For those that don't know,
you're not gonna get that because I will win within if I streamed it, I would win within an hour. I'm so close.
Then do it.
Yeah,
then
sure.
Do it.
Yeah,
do it, coward. Do it if you're cool.
Yeah, give me an hour to edit the podcast so that I can do that.
Okay, we'll see where I'm at.
We'll see what we can do there. Are you working tomorrow?
Yeah.
Oh boy, this could be real bad.
If I need to stop, and then I can do it tomorrow evening.
Yeah, if you need to be a big gigantic baby, sure.
I'm so close, y'all. It's so tantalizing.
That big circle thing's like the last boss, right?
The big circle thing, and then there's an
extremely difficult escape sequence.
Extremely tight, strict escape sequence. I did drill it 15 times in a row without dying, so I feel pretty confident that I can make it. And then I beat the last stage from start to finish 3 times in a row without dying. So I think I've got.
Talking about Life Force now.
I'm talking about Life Force for arcade. That's my first thing.
I mean, we're just in it. Is what I'm saying.
We're just in it. So what have you been doing, John?
It's like Life Force.
Life Force. That game's pretty good.
Yeah, I like it a lot. So there's 3 arcade releases. There's the original arcade Salamander, which came out in Japan.
Yeah.
That one did not have an extensive organic theme.
No.
The first stage was, but then it kind of was just a normal Gradius successor after that. This came out between Gradius 1 and 2. So it's sort of like the middle game of that trilogy in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
And then they came out in the States as Life Force. And what they did was they had this really cool organic theme in the first level, and then they were like, what if we just kind of make this the whole game? So they just took the space background from the other levels and just turned it into blood vessel webbing.
And kidney
it's
stones.
Now you're in a body. You're in a body this whole game now.
It's a very weird body though.
Yeah, it's like the kidney stones are in the stomach or something, or in the throat. That's not where kidney stones go. They don't go in the throat.
The stomach is just fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the fire level that always really.
Well, that's one that I can relate to personally. I can relate. I can relate to heartburn of that degree.
See,
we're talking with the liver level stage 4. They just do nothing. They don't even try. It's hilarious. It just looks the same.
So the 6 stages. Snarf put it in the chat. It's kidney, stomach, liver, lung, brain are the last 5.
Yeah.
The first one is muscle zone. Now, I'm thinking, you look at those other ones, kidney, stomach, liver, lung, brain, you're kind of moving up the body.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So in level 1, it's the muscle zone, and it kind of contracts a bit.
It's the butt muscles.
It's the butt level,
muscles,
right?
Yes.
It has to be the butt muscles. You're
and
going
then
up
a brain
the butt.
at the end.
Yeah.
And then you fight a brain at the end, so you're fighting some guy's other brain.
Yeah, you're going from your butt to brain, the butt to brain adventure that is Life Force.
Yeah.
But the story's not over, because then they came out with a new version in Japan called Life Force, which just makes it a lot more organic. They actually made the stage 2 boss look. They took a bunch of mechanical looking parts and made them look organic. They made more changes to the background. They changed stage 4 more. They made the fire blue and called it stomach acid.
Yeah, it's stomach acid now.
So you're playing the second release then?
I'm playing the original US release of Life Force, so that's the one I'm on.
The half and half kind of. We're almost there, but we haven't fully committed / didn't have the time.
And then they made the NES game, which they just made really good.
Yeah.
And that's the really good one, where it's 10 minutes longer. They added more stages. They took out the 2 stages that had 0 terrain, that were just enemies, and replaced them with fleshed out stages. And I haven't played. And they made the stage 4 boss good.
Oh God, yeah.
And that's the one I'm not playing because I was like, I'm gonna play the harder, worse version, and it's gonna be great.
Well,
And
I mean,
I'm
that's like literally the John Thayer way of I'm gonna play the worse version.
I want more arcade 1cc's.
Look, arcade 1cc's are great. A lot of my friends are into that, so it's
Mhm.
like it's fun.
Exactly. That's what I'm getting. I can always go back to the NES versions of these games later and get that full experience. This is what I'm after right now. I'm trying to edge my way into this territory because it's so hard. It's so hard.
Those games are meant to not play nice.
I know, and that's what I mean. And I'm trying to, but it's only been like a week, and I'm almost done with Life Force. So if I can do that, then I can do anything.
It took me 1 month to be able to 1cc Gradius 3 arcade on factory settings. So you're doing pretty good in terms of like pulling off arcade 1cc's. Like my friend Elrock617. That's sort of like his main thing on his channel, apart from speedrunning, is that he does 1cc's of arcade games. A lot of beat 'em ups. He's not typically like a shmup or a platformer kind of guy, but he does beat 'em ups. And you see a lot of the same kind of forces at work that work in shoot 'em ups with regards to things like rank, and you see how that can affect like different genres and stuff. So it's like being able to triumph over these games is no small feat.
Yeah. Gradius 3 in a month seems pretty magical to me anyway. I feel like you played quite a few of these before you got to the point where you could do that. Yeah. That game seems... somebody showed me Cube Rush and explained
Cube Rush. Cube Rush. It's so bad.
It's like more random than that Life Force thing, but it's like 40 minutes into the run.
Yeah, it's it's so deep into that game that it's utter misery. And like that whole game is about just keeping a mental tab on where you think you're at in the rank and knowing when to let the option eater eat your options to like take that rank down by a few thousand just to kind of get things to back off a little bit.
God.
Because like you don't want to have full I don't think you ever want to have full options. And you don't want to have 3 for more than like 1 minute and 20 seconds, or the game is just going to go completely nuts on you.
God, that's so weird. What a weird... That's the one where they all the devs like made their own level and got really good at it, and nobody actually played through the whole game before releasing it.
Yeah. They played and they could beat their own levels individually, and then they just kind of slapped them into the game.
It's so silly.
Do any of the Salamander releases use the Gradius power-up system?
Yes, some of them do.
Yeah.
Like the Japanese Life Force did. I don't know about the original Salamander. The US Life Force doesn't.
No.
The NES game does. Yeah. It's weird.
Because the NES game seems based on the American release where it has like the red fire, basically.
Yeah.
No, the NES game but it also pulls stuff directly from the Japanese arcade Life Force, like a lot of the aesthetic changes. So it's a whole.
I remember like the stage 2 boss being really mechanical and looking the same in the version you're playing right now.
Mm-hmm. I looked it up. I looked it up online. And I was like, oh, cool. They changed it.
I had no idea there were quite so many revisions of this game.
Yeah,
it's wild.
They just invented this whole aesthetic and then punched it up through subsequent versions. When the first one was just like, yeah, we made another Gradius thing. It's cool.
I wonder if this was originally intended as like Gradius 2, because like sequels back in that era seemed way more willing to just depart from what the original was. Like you think about Castlevania 2 and Zelda 2. So they were like, oh yeah, we made another shmup. It's kind of like that last one, and then they just made Gradius 2, 3, 4.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Salamander 2, like 10 years later.
Oh, really? See, I didn't even know about that.
Yeah, there's a Salamander 2. It's a little less known, but that's sort of like when Konami was spitting out shmups left and right, like Thunder Cross and shit like that.
I've got Thunder Cross in that collection. I'm kind of excited.
Thunder Cross is I mean, it's okay. I wasn't... It never, like... Yeah,
it's rated... It's very low on the shooting game Japanese difficulty wiki.
Yeah, it's not that hard. At least
it's 2 notches below Gradius.
Yeah,
I could kind of use it. I could kind of use a gentle win.
I need this.
I need this. Oh my god, it's so fun. Life Force feels a lot more puzzly to me than Gradius. Like there's very little dodging in Life Force. It's mostly just like learning these set pieces and learning where you need to be for them.
Yeah.
Your ship's hitbox seems pretty big.
It's pretty big,
huge.
Especially in the overhead stages, it's ginormous.
Yeah. There was one part where you're like, "Oh, this is a hard part," and I'm like, "That doesn't look that bad," and then the bullet like didn't really get that close to you and you died. I was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, it's real tricky. And then then that fucking stage 4 boss is a coin flip. Oh my god, it sucks.
I don't know how you would ever dodge that in the middle once it gets going when there's like 20 balls in there.
You can get it, kill it before it gets like 10 balls maybe.
Oh,
but that's still
so
many. And it depends, because sometimes it fires 2 balls at a time, and sometimes it fires 1 ball at a time. Yeah. And it's fucking random as far as I can tell.
Yep.
Did you get through this one, Polly?
I don't think I've 1cc'd Life Force Arcade, no.
Mm-hmm. God. It's mean. And then I can get to Gradius 2 afterwards, and hopefully that'll be a bit less of a strict jump than it seemed when I sampled it the first time.
I have 1cc'd Gradius 2.
Yeah, that's your favorite, I think.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
Mm-hmm. It seems real good. Mm-hmm. And then Gradius 3 SNES sounds like a good time.
There you go. There you go.
That sounds like a nice time. That sounds like a nice.
Just make sure you install the no slowdown patch.
Oh my god, it's such a different game. Holy crap, it's so different. You realize that is what makes you realize, oh, they're slowing that down on purpose.
I think it's like 50-50. The SNES had a slower processor than the Genesis.
I believe that it sort of started as, the hardware can't handle this, even in the arcade versions, because if you play Gradius 3 and 4 through either emulation or through something like there's a PS2 collection that I have, the slowdown is something that seems baked in, but it's also, I can see being like, there's a limitation in the hardware, but we can also control this to some degree as well. So I feel like there's sort of I think that there's two sides at play.
Yeah. It doesn't feel like it feels like it was designed around at the very least.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, they had to be aware of it for sure, and then they're bouncing against it. I remember when I played every single Genesis shmup, and then I started the SNES ones, and that's literally the first shmup on the SNES.
Yeah.
And that slowdown was rough. I was like, oh, is this just the system? Is this just how it's going to be? And it's kind of just that game.
Yeah. Because then you play Axelay a year later, and like, oh no, this is awesome.
Yeah.
No, it's just that's how Gradius 3 is designed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I want to play it some more. I really like Konami shmups. I think
that
really
like
I really like shmups, Polly. I really like shmups.
You know what? Shmups are pretty good, and Konami is one of those companies that really kind of mastered the type of shmups that they typically release, because obviously like their shmups have a very distinct voice among other shmups of the era when you kind of look at when they were actively releasing them, and then obviously, they didn't really do much once they moved past that and into more of like the bullet curtain phase of shmups. Like they had some stuff, but it's not that. It's still very decidedly slow, methodical,
set pieces,
piece based. Yeah.
Like we have like almost Country, where we have these big design set pieces where you learn the rules and kind of puzzle your way through them.
Yeah.
I really like it.
Only Gradius is way more strict because we have Gradius syndrome for a reason.
Yeah.
That's play through the entire game to get one shot at this moment and figure out what the fuck to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
bit rough.
I've been abusing saves a lot because that's nice.
have to be able to practice the stages.
I just practice so I can practice them. I have one friend who's like, I just kind of want to, at least for a little while, start from the beginning, and I wonder how much you lose out just kind of jumping straight in. I jumped basically straight into save practicing, and I'm wondering how much I kind of lost out there. But I'm still getting plenty of time on the starting from the beginning. We're doing the attempts. So.
Yeah, because like with games that utilize rank, like Zero Ranger, for instance, If you start later in the game, you're kind of screwing yourself over if you think that you're going to 1cc this thing from the beginning, because rank is always going up in that game, and I don't think it ever goes down. So it's a totally different experience if you're trying to 1cc that game versus starting in the middle. So I think that's very akin to also kind of save practicing too much.
Can trip you. Well, with stuff like Life Force, I'm starting from the beginning and then doing a save state,
right?
And then that's saving where I'm at in the rank. So it's a little different from something like Zero Ranger, where you're doing with the actual practice mode, which doesn't incorporate the rank.
Right.
But yeah, then I did enough save practicing to like learn the set pieces and learn where it was, and like, okay, now let's start from the beginning and just start grinding these out. It's fun. I really like it.
Cool.
Speaking of Grady shmups, though, I can't wait for you to eventually get into Parodius and Twin Bee, because those are the ones I like.
I get you. I got Twin Bee on that.
Like, I think once you've played one of those games, I think you're good, though. Like, I think Parodius is a great idea. I think they're fun, they're cute, and they're neat. But once you've played one, I think you've seen everything.
Okay, I'll agree with you on that one. I think the later Twin Bee arcade games are just really pretty and neat.
Absolutely. Like Twin Bee is totally different than Parodius.
Yeah, I didn't...
You need to make that distinction. Make the distinction, dumbass.
I said Parodius and Twin Bee.
That's true.
And like, as far as I know, like those later Twin Bee games like don't have console ports.
No, they don't.
I've got a big old fat MAME collection on here that I've been using, and that cool Switch arcade version I have. It's US release versions only, which is annoying. But otherwise, it's mostly fine for that. It's got Gradius, it's got Gradius 2, it's got Twin Bee, like you said, and it's got Haunted Castle.
Yeah.
Oh boy, which version? Which version?
I don't know if it's version K or version Masochist.
Yeah, version Masochist is ridiculous.
Yeah, I'll just find out if I walk in and touch a leaf.
Yeah, you walk in and touch a leaf, and whoops, there went 3/4 of my health on my one life.
Yep. If I run into that, then I'll be like, okay, not playing this version for that. And it'll be fine.
Yeah.
I like to think that it probably wouldn't be that.
Oh, yeah. I think I remember people talking about that when it came out, and I'm not sure which it is.
Whatever. I'll find out. But not until I finish Life Force, because Victory is so close.
It's so close.
The smell is intoxicating.
Almost there.
All I can think of. It's just coming in through every pore of my body is the sweet smell of victory.
It's just all gonna ooze into every hole of your body.
Oh, Jesus.
And there's
intoxicating.
1,000 years of oozing into you.
Speaking of oozing into my holes, Rhett, what have you been up to lately?
That makes no sense.
But I'm okay with Rhett oozing into my holes.
Oh my god. Anyways. So
but listen, you show me one fan of this podcast that isn't into the idea of Rhett oozing into their holes. And I'll show you a fucking liar.
Anyways. So if what?
I broke Polly again. Life is good.
Okay.
So if any of you follow me on Twitter, you know I've been posting a lot about anime the last couple of weeks.
It's been very fun.
I haven't noticed. I haven't noticed that massive thread.
Just screen caps as far as the eye can see.
Like the never-ending thread of just cute anime girls and nothing else.
It's a very consistent trend in the shows I watch. Except for Fate Zero. Not so many in that one.
No.
Or Devilman Crybaby, Jesus Christ.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to be talking about anime.
Doesn't speak to you?
JoJo does not speak to me. I mean...
like, JoJo, if JoJo's fan base wasn't so insistent and annoying, I might care. But you know what? Guess what? Everything in the world is not a JoJo reference. Shut the fuck up. All of us that do not watch JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, that is what we have to say to JoJo fans. Not everything is a JoJo reference. Shut the fuck up.
Polly, I listened to this Yes album at work the other day and had this really fun JoJo reference right at the start.
I knew that song before it was cool.
Oh my.
I didn't.
Oh my god. I normally disagree with Polly on the whole, this fan base is so annoying it makes me not want to watch a thing. Except for JoJo.
Yeah, it's literally like the worst fucking fan base.
There's just something about the discourse around that show that just is like, no, it's go away.
Like, the thing about JoJo is like, man, I see that as something that it probably has a lot of Polly energy.
Yeah.
Like, it's silly, it's stupid, it's really out there. But you people. You fucking people.
Spit it out, people.
I swear to God, you people. There. I spit it out. So you fucking people, my God. You are one of the worst fan bases I have ever had the displeasure. Dude, I get email from JoJo people or just
wait, you do?
You should talk about JoJo on the podcast.
Are you being for real?
Yes, I'm being for real.
Oh, they're gonna love this.
Yeah, they are, aren't they? Yeah. We had Sean Chiplock on a while back. He's a voice in JoJo.
Oh yeah, I remember you talking very delicately around that in the podcast in the interview.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't hate the show. I just know nothing about it other than annoying fan base.
Yeah, there you go.
Like, it's nothing against the work itself.
Exactly.
Or definitely not the voice actors.
No, definitely not.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, cute anime girls, right?
Yeah, so as I was saying before John walked over me, I'm not going to be talking about anime. I played so many games in November and December, and then we kind of took a break for Game of the Year stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then for the last episode, I was just like, I'm going to pick the 3 that I think are most interesting to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
So for this podcast, you're getting the leftovers.
You are literally getting like sloppy seconds of 2019 when games weren't even being considered any longer. Like these are just the last gasps of 2019 on top of you pumping away. Like, but they're not getting anything out of it. You're not getting anything out of it, and it's just at the end, all you get is a. And then they just collapse on top of you.
What was that metaphor, Polly?
It's for sex, Rhett.
Anyways, the first leftover is Pokemon Sword and Shield.
Is it similar? Is it the game equivalent of deeply unsatisfying lovemaking?
Maybe. People got so mad about this damn game, and they're still mad about it.
They're so mad.
So my experience with this one, all I kind of want to bring up is how I had a unique experience with this game that obviously almost nobody else will be able to replicate, because this is the first one I've played and beat since fucking Red.
Wow.
So like,
God, okay.
So like when people are like, oh, there's so many Pokemon, and I'm like, wow, like 80-90% of these are new to me. Like, I literally didn't know any of them besides the Gen 1 stuff and like Wooper. So it's like, oh, there's like new types, like Steel type is new to me, which has probably been there since like Gen 2.
Gen 2 or something, yeah.
Fairy type is new. I'm like, oh, Psychic isn't as strong as it used to be. It's just so like there's a few little they keep making the same game over and over, and I recognize that, but they did put a few quality of life things in this one that I liked.
Shared experience, which pisses everybody off because it's baby easy mode, and everybody thinks that they're hardcore playing a fucking Pokemon game.
Yeah, but like that one's been in it for a while. It's just that they made it mandatory this time, which is why people are bad.
Yeah.
The thing I really like about this one is that once you see a Pokemon, even if you don't catch it, I think it'll say what type it is in your little book afterwards. Oh. So it helps you figure out some shit a little easier. And the big one is that once you have that, the game will automatically tell you if an attack will be super effective.
Oh.
So you don't have to fucking guess so much.
That's really nice.
That's kind of like that's like Persona
yeah.
5 stuff where like once you know the weakness of an enemy, you can press right trigger when it's your turn, and it'll just automatically offer to switch you over to the persona and highlight the attack to use.
It's basically that. Like even when you like say you come up against an enemy and you switch your Pokemon out, when you're switching and you have all 6 of your guys in the menu, when you menu down to each of them, it'll show their 4 moves and then also still say super effective if it's going to be a super effective type. So like you can get a pretty good grasp of like, oh, this one is going to fuck this guy up probably. Like it has all these attacks are super effective. It's not going to tell you if the enemy is also going to be something that's going to quad damage, crit kill your enemy, but you know, it helps.
Yeah.
And then even then, by the end of the game, I was still just loading up a wiki like, okay, steel is weak to fairy or whatever. Fucking, it just because so many of the enemies in that game, like the entire gym system, and then like the end game stuff is just this is a character that only uses this one type, and so if you don't know what it's weak to, you're going to be real fucking confused for a while.
Right.
And again, for people that have been with this series for 20 years, that's not an issue.
You have that whole fucking gigantic 200 cell flowchart memorized, or like 500 chart. It's like, yeah, of course.
It's so big.
We do this
because so much. The regular type advantage disadvantage stuff isn't that confusing, but then it's when you get into dual types that it's like, this is kind of annoying. When it's like, oh, this is a steel ghost. What the fuck is that weak to?
How does that work? A ghost can't be steel. That's silly, because a ghost by nature is fucking...
Tell her how it could be a steel ghost rat.
I don't know that I kept running against this one enemy that like everyone uses in competitive because it's a steel ghost or something, which means like it's weak to nothing.
Steel Ghost sounds like a bad 80s metal band name, by the way. Steel Ghost.
What's a steel ghost type?
Their debut album,
I'm
Midnight.
sure there is one.
Oh, duh, because it's a sword possessed by a ghost Pokemon.
And the ghost is that of a woman who was sacrificed to make the sword.
That's a different universe.
Don't be ridiculous.
A better one.
I choose you, Saber.
I should name a Honedge Saber. That's great.
Oh, jeez.
So stupid.
So like,
how this game treat you?
It treated me fine. It's a very easy, breezy adventure. Basically, I think the graphics are actually really good, all things considered. Like, I guess considering the backlash and like the animations in battle are really good.
Yeah, like this game looked totally fine to me.
It oozes a lot of charm. Like it does what it needs to. I think the weird thing is that 90% of the game is fixed camera stuff and just kind of plays exactly like the old games.
Yeah.
And then there's this literally one area where you have camera control and it's a whole open world thing. And every time you go there, it just feels like you're stepping into a different game.
You know what's weird to me about that game?
Yeah.
That game is weird to me because there is no voice acting, and there are parts where there absolutely should be, like somebody fucking singing.
Oh, so you saw that singing scene? That's the worst one by far.
But like, look, this is fucking Nintendo, and this is Pokemon. This is $1 billion fucking franchise. How at this point your big fucking console debut? How does that game not get the royal fucking treatment and get of like full voice acting and just like presentation across the board? Like how?
Game Freak like has enough control where Nintendo can't like force their hand, I guess.
But why do they want that? Is what
there's two scenes that are just obnoxiously bad without voice acting.
One is the opening.
Yeah, one is the fucking opening cutscene where they're like pantomiming in time with the dialogue.
Oh,
but it's silent.
It's so
awkward.
Bad and awkward.
And then there's the one with the Dark Gym League Master, and he's singing, and again, it's just quiet, and he's like tapping his feet, and it's just silent. It's so fucking strange. Like it's unfinished.
See, it works in like, because see, Trails in the Sky does that too with Oliver, because he sings a few times. And this is
my version. He actually did sing.
Well, this is before the Evo version.
I know,
but they make it work because the graphics are sprites, and it's okay to be presented like that. But when you are presenting a game that clearly took tens of millions of dollars to create, the fact that you didn't dump another 100,000 to 500,000, whatever it would take to, man,
I know.
Fuck off. Just fuck all the hell off.
For me, it's not even I expected full voice acting. It's like these scenes as they're directed do not make sense without voice acting. They don't make sense.
Exactly.
So if you just got somebody to do like these 5 lines for this one scene and then nobody else talked ever again,
right,
I'd be more okay with that just because of how it's directed.
Right.
It's super weird.
There are lots of games that we play and accept that have partial voice acting.
Yeah, I mean, that's a ton of JRPGs still. Like, I saw that Legacy of Goku game that just came out is partial voice acting.
Yeah. It's fine, but man, like, something as big as Pokemon has no business being presented the way that it was presented, I think.
I do remember I defended Alliance Alive at someone on Twitter because they didn't like that it didn't have voice acting, and I was just kind of like, it kind of feels PS1-y to me. I kind of vibe with it. But that game's also like a much smaller dev than Pokemon.
Yeah.
I mean,
there aren't any scenes that jump out like, oh, they're singing, literally.
Yeah, like that's what really just sends it over the edge, I think, is it's a literal singing piece that's synced up to the music, and
and it says dead silent.
It's
just so weird.
Dead fucking quiet.
Hey, Polly,
yeah.
We had partial voice acting for the singing in our game.
Oh, whoops. We did, didn't we? Even we did.
I mean, how would that even work if it wasn't?
Exactly.
We
kind of knew that going in. We knew that going in. We were going to have to do it.
Pokemon was like, fuck it. No voice acting. So there's that.
So it's confirmed that her lullaby is better than Pokemon Sword and Shield.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I thought that went without question. The other thing I want to talk about is how much that game fucking hates Marnie.
Oh, yeah, it really does. Yeah, she's just relegated to a nothing role.
She just isn't a character. It's amazing.
It's amazing that they make a character that looks like she has the most personality that any Pokemon character has had in years, and they literally gave her no personality.
Raven in chat says Marnie did nothing wrong, and I'm thinking Marnie did nothing.
Marnie did nothing. Yeah, like that's just the 3 words there is all you need.
What really irked me is like she joins you kind of very briefly during the JRPG climax, and then it's like, oh, I'll stay outside. You and God, what's the friend's name that everybody hates?
Hop.
You and Hop will go, do the JRPG thing. So that, which makes sense because battles. There's 2 people in the dual battles, obviously.
And that game is more Hop's story than yours.
Yeah. So I wasn't too mad about that. But then in the post-game, there's this whole thing where you have to go to all 8 gyms again. Or actually, no. You go to 7 gyms again, and you skip one of them. And the entire time, Marnie's brother is tagging along with you. Because he quit being the gym leader, and Marnie is the one taking care of his gym now. Guess which is the one you also skip?
Yeah.
It's literally bizarre. They just like write her 100% out and then give all the character development they could have given to her brother. And I'm just like, wow, they like actually hate this character that they made or something.
That's unfortunate.
It's so bizarre. I was just like,
go ahead.
I was just cracking up at the extent to which they just wrote her out as quickly as they could.
Jeez.
These characters, they unveiled these characters, and there was an ocean of fan art. I was like, boy, this fan art's going to be a lot more enjoyable than the actual 6 lines they get in the actual game.
Because I think most of the major characters do have some form of character growth and arc, even if it's like extremely basic and like I don't know, amateur hour writing, basically. I think Bede, his story is actually decent, where he starts out as like this real asshole villain and ends up becoming kind of more humble and like learning his place and like becoming a gym leader. Mm-hmm. But then Marnie becomes a gym leader because her brother quit. So he has the growth, and she just gets shuffled over there now. And then you can like basically not talk to her. Mm. You go over there and she's like, "Do you want to battle?" Yes, no.
Oh
God.
It's wild.
That's so crazy to me.
Yeah, and then they announced the expansion. And I'm like, nah.
That expansion
you want to drop $30 on more Pokemon content?
Look, man, the only thing I like about the expansion content is like, oh, cool, it made a bunch of people mad, and I'm laughing.
And people got mad all over again.
Yeah.
Because then, yeah, the expansion. Oh, there's going to be 200 new returning Pokemon. So it's like, oh, this was always the fucking plan. Just kind of DLC the old ones. I mean, I guess it's better than doing a third version for $60. Pokemon Crown.
Oh, jeez. Was that
the
rumor?
Those generally, like, at least happen, like, a year later or something. Like, I don't know, something... It feels bad to me.
But, like, the expansion for this, I think the second part will be this fall, so it's going to be a year later.
It is a year.
Anyway.
This game came so fast. This game has been out for so long.
Yeah, like, this game already kind of feels old.
I know. Oh, because they were doing the big reveals. Like, we knew about Marnie,
like, we knew about this game for... Like, this game needed to not be on display as much as it was, because, like...
Holly, they gotta sell systems. What are you talking about?
This game feels like it's already been out for 2 years.
It's been out
it's exhausting. That's like the big... Like, they unveil all the evolutions for the starters. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Leave something for the game.
I think that stuff actually did leak. No.
Like, I think that those reveals and shit go all the way back to the dumb Smash reveals where they were doing that every week, where there's literally like
fucking Smash Brawl. That was a
Brawl was
year of build up. It was a nightmare.
It's just like I hate that shit. I hate that shit just because it's just like why do people want to go into games like that? Like, what happened to being surprised about what a game is going to do to you? I went into Metal Gear Solid 2 not knowing Raiden existed.
I mean, that was the point of that game. Yeah, totally different theory there. I know it's
better.
But that's just like one example. But and that's an extreme example as well. But just like even things like, I don't like knowing like what unlockables are in games. I don't like knowing this shit. Like, I like being surprised when something pops up and it's like, oh shit. It's like, there's a game I'm playing right now where somebody just like, I finished it, and then they were like, oh, but wait till you see what happens to blah, blah, blah in the second. I'm like, man, fuck you.
Yeah. I actually thought they were more modest about revealing stuff in this game than they were with like Sun and Moon, which seemed to just put everything out on display.
Yeah.
And then people realized the reason they did less reveals for this game was because there was just less of it.
Just less
like there's
of the game.
There's just kind of not a post game really.
Yeah, yeah.
Isn't it like less than 20 hours on how long to beat?
I mean, like that.
It seems shorter than the others.
If you rush it, it's pretty short, but if you're, doing everything and catching all 400, it's going to fucking take you a while. That shit gets so repetitive after like 100. Yeah, I was like, I'm good. Yeah. You get it down to 20% health and throw the ball. I got you, game.
I got you. And After 5 has a point in that, like, data mining is definitely kind of a big thing. Like data mining is so big right now that literally all of Final Fantasy VII Remake is leaked.
That's
because they were dumb, and the demo contains all of the strings, a whole bunch of data for the rest of the game.
The rest of the first episode of the game, right? Yeah. Not like the whole
entire rest of the first game, which is that's a major release for the year.
Yeah, it is.
All of the data is out there now. Everything is known about it, from characters that join your party to names of attacks to items. The entire script is in there.
What?
Like, what the fuck were you people doing? Like, the subtitles. Like, the subtitle data. It's all there. It's like, what the fuck?
I hadn't heard about this.
Yeah.
Like, I'd heard...
So don't go looking for it. I know.
I just saw threads that were like, oh, the demo leaked. Everything's out there. I didn't know the demo contained...
Yeah, the demo has pretty much...
for the full game.
Yeah, like, it's got all of the data for everything. Like, even if it's not accessible in-game...
Yeah.
It's still got, like, the subtitle file that has the rest of the story and all of the script in it.
It's got Eris's limit break.
Yep.
Oh.
Oh, that's wild. I mean, that's less impactful because it's a fucking remake anyway, though. Like, you should know this.
But that shows
I
that
know,
like
but
data
that's
mining is like a big thing now. Like you
Yeah.
couldn't put anything out there. Like you can't really have secrets anymore in the same way that you used to be able to, because if you are anything of note, people are gonna data mine you like day zero.
I mean, that is what happened to Pokemon though, where like some of those stuff, like the starter forums that John was talking about, I think that was just a leak, like a couple days before the game came out. Like the discourse behind this game was so fucking awful right before it came out.
Yeah.
Where people were like playing on their stolen copies and like hacking the game to make it slow down and post videos of that.
That was like people wanted this game to fail. Like there was an air of malicious intent around this game from the fan base that it just astounded me, because this is just like I always thought like again, my brain being what it is, I can't wrap it around certain things, but my brain says I am a fan of this thing. Why am I trying to actively fucking hurt it now?
Because they should have put voice acting in.
Okay, you got a point.
But yeah,
That's
the
true.
whole like I'm posting edited videos to make the game look like it's slowing down more than it really does was fucking wild. That's where I was.
That's a whole new level of what the fuck is wrong with people.
I mean, just nothing is real on the internet anymore.
Yeah.
Like so that's where I was like, okay, like dunking on this game was funny for a minute, and now you're all taking it way too fucking far.
Yeah.
And harassing people.
And harassing.
Well, that was the entire dev process, really, of trying to literally get people fired, throwing out false accusations of sexual misconduct. It's just like, what the fuck, people?
What are you doing? Christ. So that's Pokemon.
Video games are a happy thing, and we all love them, and they only bring out the best in people.
How's the story, Rhett?
I mean, the story is wild because, like, 80% of it is just do the 8 gyms and then become the champion. And then right before you fight the champion, they're like, oh no, the world is ending. Go over here.
Oh, shit.
Like, it's bizarre. Like,
this is like the third time they've done that exact shape. It's probably so weird every time.
It's probably done the worst here, like, not even having played the other games.
Oh, X and Y is so bad. Though.
It's like, Holly has the line about Trails in the Sky where there's a JRPG happening in the background and you're not invited until the second game.
Yeah.
In this game, it's like, but it's doing that, but super clumsily, where they're like, oh no, there's a Pokemon Gigamaxing over here. It's destroying the city. Anyway, you keep doing those gyms. We'll handle it off screen. like they literally just off screen a ton of stuff.
Rhett's dick is always in Gigamax form.
Okay.
It's got a life bar, but it actually just shatters the sides of your TV as soon as it pops up. It's unassailable.
Right.
This makes me feel like a dick because it's been happening a lot lately, and it's that Nintendo's fan base is really awful and harasses a bunch, right?
Yeah.
I think that's just fan bases in general right now.
Okay.
I don't feel Nintendo has any.
I don't follow any of those people that are doing the harassing and being shitheads, right?
Oh, yeah, of course not.
What I do follow is all the people who aggressively defend Nintendo from these harassers.
Yeah.
So, like, every time Nintendo does anything...
You have to put this most positive spin on it.
It's like, oh no, I actually love that they made another Fire Emblem girl. That's so great of them. I'm a good fan. Fuck me, Sakurai, please.
Yeah, like there's this air of it's like
one of the good ones.
You go from being a fan to coddling at some point, and like it feels like this weird accidental progression where it's just like it starts out good intentioned, like you're trying to keep positive vibes going around this thing that is obviously that you like that means a lot to other people, but then it starts becoming like, oh, now I'm going to make excuses for or like any perceived slight or any criticism at all starts being looked at as negativity. Or
even toxic.
Yeah,
not liking Coleman or whatever.
And I think that like that's where like you start getting a little overzealous and maybe need to dial it back a bit. Look, man, this corporation still doesn't love you, okay?
As someone it hits me hard because I think Nintendo sucks, and I hate them. To me,
why are you harassing Nintendo, John? Jesus.
So I'm just like living it. It's just like, oh my god, this is so saccharine. And like, it would be different if it was something I liked, and that's why I'm trying to be restrained about it, and not come off as a dick. But like the Smash, the Fire Emblem reveal, that was the big one because everyone was like, "This is fine, actually. I think this is great. I'm a good one." It's just
a good one. I literally think I saw somebody say, "I'm a good one," though.
I wrote this to a friend, and I felt so bad about writing it, but I said, Sakurai is not going to fuck you, no matter how much you white knight his game. As a joke.
Obviously.
As a joke. Extremely a joke. That was so evil. It just made me laugh a lot.
That was a weird one because I'm not honestly sure if there was any direct harassment because it was so quick, but it's like, yeah, it's okay to be disappointed. Jeez.
Yeah, like it's fine. Like not everybody. Look, I know that not everybody likes Fire Emblem. That's fine.
Oh, John, #1 Fire Emblem fan right here.
Oh yeah, John.
It's Rhett. It's 2020. I'm letting go of those past beliefs. I bought Pokemon White. I've got that sitting at the ready for when I want.
Did you?
Yeah, I have that. It's sitting there.
Cool.
I'm gonna play and I'll play one of the Fire Emblems probably this year. Like maybe one of the good ones.
Awakening.
Not Awakening Plus. So one of the
Yeah.
Wait, what's Awakening Plus?
Awakening.
Man, just replay Radiant.
And then everything from Awakening on is obviously bad.
Just replay Radiant Dawn, man.
Exactly. That one or the GameCube one or I don't know, something.
Yeah. Play those. Those are the good ones.
Thank y'all for letting me voice my discontent there.
I just remember waking up and looking at my phone because I wake up at noon because I'm a degenerate. I just woke up looking at my phone and everyone's Byleth, and I just started fucking laughing because it was just like I just saw people saying the previous night like this is the obvious boring choice, and then it happened and I just laughed.
But the way they presented it is real good.
Okay, I didn't actually watch the direct.
So they presented
I saw Sakurai smiling.
They presented it as Byleth being another sword fighter.
Uh-huh.
And then he gets his ass kicked. And then he comes back and talks to Sothis, and she's just like, "What? Too many sword fighters for you?" And so he fights with four different weapons. And I was like, okay, that's really fucking good.
That's pretty funny.
Because it's been like 10 years of people going, there's too many sword fighters in Smash Brothers.
Yeah, they actually made the joke. They had a character voice that opinion, and it was really good. Like, I thought that was genuinely funny. But I couldn't care less about the rest, because I think Smash is dumb and for babies.
Violet's design is really horny. I didn't process that.
Absolutely.
The girl Violet.
Girl Violet is like the horniest fire. Like, other than Tharja.
Oh, yeah.
And she's a main character.
And yeah.
It's not. If it was like just one thing, then it wouldn't be too much. It wouldn't be overwhelming. If it was just like the exposed tummy, that's okay. I get it. If it was just the short shorts, okay.
It's the leggings.
Short shorts and ripped ornate
leggings.
It's the leggings that do it.
Yeah.
Tactfully framed titty chest. With like, we got the bare shoulders, got the little thing covering the cleavage because this is still a Jesus game.
I was mad about
so
Violet.
much.
I was mad, and then I wasn't mad. I was just amused at such a boring choice. And then somebody was like, "Female Byleth amiibo," and I was like, "Yep, back in."
Back in. Boom! You actually hear Rhett slam $20 on the table.
Yeah.
Okay.
Polly.
Yeah.
What you been up to?
You know what? I'm kind of like Rhett this time.
Oh boy.
I watched an anime.
Oh shit.
It's been a while since I've done that, and then I did this one in literally the span of one morning.
Excellent.
God.
It was one of the. It's just like, you wake up at 5:30, and it's just like, well, I'm already ready for my day. I got nothing else to do, and I ain't got to be anywhere for 3 hours. Let's throw on an anime and start watching. So I watched A Place Further Than the Universe over the span of a morning. So if you don't know what A Place Further Than the Universe is, if you haven't listened to previous episodes, because I know Rhett's talked about this show before. I don't know how deep diving you went on it.
You were definitely like, sounds like Shinkai. I'm not interested.
Kind of.
I mean, the name of that show is a lot.
Yeah, it is. It is. It has a very Shinkai kind of feel to it. Like if you just look at the premise, because it's about somebody that wants to go to Antarctica, and they kind of come to this because it's okay. So it's about this high school girl who's entering her second year of high school, right? And she literally just decides one day, oh my God, my entire life just slipped away from me. I am in my second year of high school. What happened?
I'm so old.
I'm so old.
My prime has passed me by.
My prime has passed me. My youth has forever fleeting. And she decides she needs to do something crazy. And she keeps trying to do something crazy, like, I'm going to skip school, whoops, I chickened out. Or I'm going to ride the train somewhere I've never been before. Nah, not going to do it. Until eventually she meets, through a weird set of circumstances, which that's kind of like an underlying theme of this show, is a weird set of happy circumstances.
Listen, they got to get there eventually.
You got to get there, right? She ends up meeting another girl who is planning joining an expedition to Antarctica, and she just kind of like decides, oh, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna make your dream my dream because mine are fucking boring.
I'll support your dream.
I'll support your dream. I'm coming.
Because nobody
with
else
you.
does. Everyone sucks.
Yeah, everybody sucks. Everybody that isn't one of the main characters in this show sucks. This is an asshole. Your dream sucks. But yeah, like through this weird coincidental set of events, we get two more characters join this group, and like we're all gonna work together and go to Antarctica. And right from the get-go, this show started giving me shaky vibes because I was just like, uh-oh, this is gonna be a whole fucking show where we're gonna lead up to nothing, aren't we? We are literally never going to Antarctica. We are going to spend the entire thing. We're going to do all the dumb, awful episodes where we're trying to earn the money to do. We're going to have like the job fair episode. We're going to have a festival episode where we're trying to earn money to go. Or like I figured that this is going to be all build up, and like the theme of the show is like we didn't go to Antarctica, but the real Antarctica is the friends we made along the way.
Paulie, I know you watched the show in one day, but did you watch the opening?
Yes.
Could you imagine that opening on a show where they don't actually go to Antarctica?
See, that's what I thought they were going to do, though.
Oh, my God.
For the first 2 episodes, I'm like, oh, man, if there's 10 more episodes of we're not actually going to Antarctica, I'm going to be real pissed off. But thankfully, that's not the case, because throughout the course of the first 6 or so episodes, they are building up to actually leaving for Antarctica. And even when they got to the episode where they're in front of the auditorium, they're announcing that they're going to be joining this expedition, I thought it was a dream sequence at first. Because the reactions were just I don't believe Mari's reactions, typical ginky girl, excited, and Shirase is just yo, I'm leaving, bye. And it's just, it felt weird to me. It was just okay, this is just a dream sequence. Oh no, they're actually getting ready to board a plane and go. Okay, that's good. I mean, we're actually going somewhere now.
I don't know how long they actually went for, but if you think of a couple classmates actually having to leave for 2 months to go to Antarctica in high school, that would actually kind of be a big deal that they would have an auditorium meeting for.
Yeah, and they spend that first 6 episode getting you really kind of intimate with these characters and kind of a baseline for the type of characters they are, and the big pull for going to Antarctica for one of the main characters. Her mom disappeared on an expedition 3 years ago, and oh boy, yeah, she's going there because her mom's still there. It's uh-oh. Yeah. We're going there, aren't we? We're going there. But you've got the other cast of characters, and this is sort of the show where it builds around. It's very character driven, while also being able to kind of focus on the journey of actually getting to Antarctica, because you get this stretch of episodes where they're on the boat. You take the plane and then you get on the boat to go.
There's that stopover in Singapore as well.
Yeah, the stopover in Singapore.
They lose a passport.
They lose a passport, and it's stressful as fuck.
It's so bad.
Extremely stressful.
And that's where you start seeing, but that episode in particular is where you start seeing what this show's actually going for, and that each of these characters is on a personal journey, because each one of them, like, along with this big trip that we're planning, obviously this big expedition to this great, this is a great cool thing that you're doing, but the personal experiences that you're having to overcome and your own personal hurdles, and how you come out of those and dealing with other people is a major theme. And this is sort of when they start pulling those things out of each character and kind of making them more people than just like, it's the Genki girl, it's the quiet girl, things like that. They start becoming more like people, and like that's where the show really starts taking off. And then you get to the actual Antarctica part, and then having that isolation from society lets these characters, you get forced to open up in this kind of situation now, where there's nothing else but you and these other people, and that's where the show really, really starts to shine, and like the excellent writing starts taking over, and there's like all of these just like little nuggets of character development and wisdom that gets sprinkled in every now and again, and like they give the show like a super positive energy, and I think that's something I really like about this show, is that it's genuinely just super positive, while also kind of exploring a lot of darker kind of subject matter and things that we may or may not like about ourselves. I think that by the end of this show, and where everybody has progressed, and like how you've seen everybody kind of open up and have these shared experiences, it's very similar to Trails in the Sky the Third. And that's some high praise. And that for me, that for me is very high praise. Like I think that it's a show that could land with a lot of people, because like the personal hurdles the characters need to get over, they're really relatable. Whether it's getting over your own bullshit pride, or like trying to find closure through tragic events that have taken part in your life, or like the loss of a loved one and shit like that. Like, it handles them really like with a lot of honesty, and it tries to be as warm as possible as well, which is funny considering that it takes place in the coldest place on Earth. I mean, like, and what I like about it is that, like, whether the characters realize it or not, they're all on a journey to grow, and in some way, and in doing so, they make each other stronger in the process. And it's a set of characters you feel actually grow together. They start out as acquaintances, and you really feel that bond by the end of the show. And there's a real great line in the show that I think summarizes it really well, and it's like, if you can still turn back, it's not a journey. And I think that basically, that is a good line. I think that sums up everything that like the show is going for, both with its root concept of going to Antarctica and the emotional journey that these characters go on. Because it takes a lot of bravery to address the things that they need to deal with. Get your own bullshit together. So it's just like super fulfilling show, top to bottom. It's produced by Madhouse, so it's goddamn amazing looking.
So pretty.
Yeah. There's so much, like, the writing is fantastic. Like, the script work is just super smooth across the board. There's so much, like, interstitial dialogue, so much one-off dialogue that'll catch you off guard, that's almost just weirdly poetic, that it's just like, man, like the people that were behind this show did a great job. It's just great sound design. Insert songs are always on fucking point.
There are so many, it's ridiculous. It's almost parody at some point.
Every episode.
It's not every episode, but it's almost every episode. Like maybe 11 of 13 or something.
Yeah, maybe like 11 to 13 has a goddamn insert song, and they know exactly where to put it every fucking time. Every
time, like, there's a moment where it gets louder, it like takes the focus right as you start to cry. It's like amazingly timed. It is just such a tightly constructed show of how, like, every episode is kind of an individual little story, but also kind of adding to the greater whole of the journey. Yeah. So it's kind of episodic, but also, like, obviously it's one continuous journey. But then, like, I think there's also kind of 3 arcs to it. Like, it's a 3-story story.
Yeah.
Because, like, the first 5 episodes when they're at home, and then the 4 kind of on the journey, and then the last 4 into Antarctica. Like, it's incredibly well balanced, and, like, every character kind of gets their episode in each of those arcs.
Yeah. It's
Boy, I actually cried a lot near the end.
Yeah.
This is not a show that I went into expecting. Like, I didn't go into this.
I should have warned you.
I didn't go into this show expecting to be hit in the feels as hard as I was, but I'm glad it did. I'm glad I took the journey, so to speak. It's not one to be missed. If you like those kind of quiet, contemplative shows that's genuinely heartwarming, genuinely touching, genuinely funny, and with characters that I think that you absolutely will grow to love by the end, like. Yeah, and this is a show that I feel you'll get something out of, personally. I think that there's a little something there for everybody to pull from, even if it's not directly from a situation. I think that this is a show that's just full of really good messages, that is cognizant of things that can happen in the world that are bad, but is all in on, hey, let's confront those things in a healthy way, and let's have a good cry about it if we have to. Show's very good about having a good cry about things when it needs to, and you'll probably join it on more than one occasion when it does. Yeah. But it's just a show that's full of a lot of good energy, I think. Like it's not what I was expecting going in at all. Like I said, I kind
of can't believe you thought they weren't going to go on the journey.
I didn't think they would. I literally thought this was going to be one of those, like, it's a metaphor. Like, Antarctica is just a metaphor for
the... But they still... That's the funny thing is that it still is.
It still is, but I thought it was literally just going to be, like, okay, like, this is our second year in high school, and I thought it was going to stretch to the, to the end of their high school, and that, like, they never went to Antarctica, but the Antarctica was the friends they made along the way. That's what I thought, and if this show would have been that, I would have been real fucking mad.
There's no way we would have been singing its praises the way...
No. Yeah, I'm not really... I don't get super jazzed about the... we have the festival episode shows.
Never into that kind of crap.
It seems like the main thing that you're really taking away from it is just like, I really appreciated how emotionally mature the show was.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's very honest. Like, it's not...
Growing up.
Yeah, it's literally just growing up, and like, and it's a positive message about, like, you don't have to fucking go to Antarctica to come to find the kind of fulfillment that this show is trying to talk about. And I think that it does a good job of saying that, like, even the little things in the part of a journey, can be a journey in and of themselves. And I think the show's good at showing you both sides of that. It's like, yeah, like, the show is a show about this great big adventure and going to Antarctica, but it's more about the connections and the things that we can do to lift ourselves up and lift others up around us that means the most, I think. And I think that, even as the show is ending during its final credit sequence, you see that, because you see that effect that it has had on people and various characters over the course of the show. And I think that's really cool. Like, it's definitely not one to be missed, I think.
Yeah.
Is
Cool.
for
That Sockscast approved.
It's yes.
I guess
A place further than the universe is 100% Sockscast approved.
What was the last Sockscast approved anime?
God, Madoka and Shinsekai Yori. Yeah.
Okay, Shinsekai Yori, because that was like within the podcast.
Yeah.
God.
There's a line like towards the start of this show where they meet the quiet girl, and she's like, "Oh, but you three are best friends, right?" And they look at each other like,
"Yeah, they like."
We only met like a month ago.
Yeah,
But then at the end of the show, there's a line, and I forget who says it, where she's like, "Oh yeah, we're best friends."
Yeah,
and
we're best friends. Yeah, it's like, real good at tying its themes together like that.
And how that's not a thing they ever officially decided. It's just we know we're best friends now.
And that's just being honest. That's how friendship works. Like you don't just.
There's an episode about how friendship works.
How friendship works because. You know, like some people view the world in a mechanical way like that because it's all they know.
And they've been sheltered.
Yeah. So, yeah. Man, that show's real good.
Yeah.
Happy I watched that one.
The friends leaving the group chat. The friends.
Oh, God.
Oh,
man.
Yeah.
Oh.
Show's got a lot of real... Like, this is a show of moments...
Mm-hmm.
And it's got a lot of them where, like, it'll either leave you crying or just, like, throwing fists in the air like, fuck yes! Somebody said it!
The one that had me, like, welling... Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I messaged both of you about the piss off one last night.
Yeah, that's a real fucking good moment. And as somebody who's had a lot of moments like that and been able to deliver that moment of just, like, it feels real good.
God, what a good show.
I think the last two episodes, especially for what is a super sad story, they handle it so deftly of like not, you know.
I think
it could have been way grimmer.
The way they handle that subplot
is so perfect. Yeah.
There's a stinger right at the end of the show in episode 13. Where an item gets passed from one character to another that sends that entire thing, that entire subplot becomes something super special in that moment.
Yeah.
It's just like you're taking that and giving that to someone else. Like that's it. That's the theme. That's everything right there. Take that positivity and give it to someone else. And that is a place further than the universe.
As a real random aside, there was a side character that I was like, I recognize that voice, and I looked it up, and it was Blonde from Neptunia. but like a totally minor, not worth mentioning character really on the boat. I was like, but I'm like, I know that voice.
See, I only know Wendy Lee, so.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Yeah, the good dub of Neptunia.
Oh, okay. I was confused, like, oh yeah, wait a minute, do we watch this dubbed?
No.
No. I'm being a weeb again.
He's being a weeb. So do we want to take a 5-minute break?
Yeah.
Sure thing.
All right, we will be right back.
I can kind of stop crying a little bit.
In about 5 minutes, everybody can stop crying. Yeah, like there were a couple moments during that little exchange where I was just like, I got to talk about a couple things, but even trying to be vague about them, I'm going to hold it back, got to hold it back. We'll be right back, people.
It's a good show. Thank you, Rhett. Thank you, Rhett, for sharing this with us.
No problem.
Well, I'm out.
Bye. I just found out the game I'm going to talk about next does not have a Wikipedia page.
Oh.
I don't know how that happens because it's not a...
Yeah, what?
Some John Thayer energy.
But it's not, though. There's somebody on the top page going, this game has been nominated for the Game Awards Best VR Game. Da-da-da. Why does this not have its own page? And nobody replied.
Ouch. Man, video games and getting noticed for making video games and getting your video game noticed is real fucking hard today. Who'd have fucking guessed, right?
Like Wikipedia and their whole, notability bullshit. It's fucking stupid.
History is written by the winners.
It's fucking... You guys got infinite space, dog, right?
It's information control.
It's so weird.
Thought control. Information control. What is that? Is that Metal Gear?
It probably is, but I'm being sincere. So
yeah. No, I'm just trying to remember what the line was. But also sincere. Yeah.
Junk data. We got to expunge all the junk data. It's not. This data is not corporate enough. It's junk data.
Not notable. I'm back.
So, Rhett, you were saying.
I think John is next.
We're gonna segue the way I want to segue. How about that?
Okay.
So you were saying that a video game that you're gonna talk about is not on Wikipedia. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm making this like the most fucking ham-fisted segue now.
Unlike all our other ones.
Just smooth as butter. But look, Rhett brought it up, and I was just like, my brain was like, oh wow, we should just jump that way. We should, we should fucking just do it to him. We should just fucking do it to him.
You had to.
I had to.
Okay, Polly, I want to see how quick I can lose you on a game.
Okay. I will start the timer.
Okay.
Now,
from the co-creator of Rick and Morty.
Done. Nah, keep going. Keep going. That actually is not enough to turn me off.
Oh, okay. It's also a VR game. Are we out yet?
I'm still here. Only because I've seen you post things from this game, and I'm like, man, that game seems real fucking funny.
Really seems fucking funny.
I played Trover Saves the Universe.
Yeah, this seems really cool to me.
It's a game by Justin Roiland. Well, I mean, not by, but
involvement
was a major role, and I think he voices literally every character.
I think so,
because everybody sounds the same pretty much. There's even jokes where characters oh, now I'm sounding like this other character. Shit, I've got to get back in my correct voice here. Everybody's just...
It's kind of a mess that way.
Yeah.
It's a happy mess. I like shit like that, though.
So this is a VR game where you play as Trover, you control Trover. You actually play as a guy stuck in a chair, because it's a VR game.
Right.
And you have to go on this weird space adventure to save the universe. And this game has a very twisted sense of humor, let's say. It is unbelievably vulgar.
Yeah, it seems that way.
I am extremely easily amused. I hear video game characters drop F-bombs, and I start laughing.
You just still get a giggle out of that.
I get it. What was that animated movie a few years ago? Sausage Party?
Yeah.
It kind of has that energy of
right.
It's just characters saying, fuck, this shouldn't be this fucking funny, but it's just characters just fucking dropping fucking F-bombs constantly for no fucking reason.
Brett, you made a cartoon series where characters say fuck like it's a comma.
Yeah, basically that. The other thing this game is really good about, and this makes sense because it's a VR game, is that it's very reactive to what you're doing.
Oh, yeah.
So just, especially towards the start of the game, the first half, I think maybe leaned into it a bit more, and then they're like, listen, you're not going to actually sit and listen to 5 minutes of dialogue every single time something happens, right? But the very start of the game where it's the very intro is if only I could use the right stick to turn my chair. And then the character, you're watching TV and there's these characters saying, oh yeah? Well, I bet you can't use the right stick to change your view left and right. don't you dare tell me to use the right stick to turn my chair left and right. And it just keeps going until you finally do it. And then Trover joins, and he's like, okay, come over here. Press R2 on this button to go over here. What the fuck? Are you going to do it or not?
I love shit like that. I love really dumb shit like that.
And like you just feel his frustration because you control him directly with the analog stick, and he's like, okay, you put me on the thing, now press R2 to warp over here. No, you walked me off it. What the fuck are you doing? Just fucking press R2 over here. Jesus Christ. Are you stupid or something? Like, it's just... So there's a lot of that, and then like you can choose whether to kill or not kill characters, and when you kill him, he's like, oh man, what the fuck? You just fucking had me stab that guy. What the hell is wrong with you? And like, there's parts where like you can go where you're listening to like plot relevant important characters, and you can just walk away, and they're just like, okay,
bye. Later.
We're
like
Wheatley
does that in Portal 2 a lot. Like if you when he's with you, and like you could fuck with him in a lot of the same ways. Where if you just like walk away from him, well, all right, I'll talk to you later then. I love Wheatley, by the way.
Yeah, he's great. Of that game,
he's very great.
Oh god, when's Portal VR? God damn it!
It makes it. They tried it. It makes you throw up.
Oh yeah, I know. When are we gonna do it? Let's do it.
I want GLaDOS to take into account that you may be throwing up, or have a way to determine if you're throwing up, like the way it might read your head.
Bucket.
That'd be wild.
That comes with the game.
It's like why it works in this is because you're kind of warping between these specified warp points. Like the game has a very binary like, are you in the same area as these characters or not?
Yeah.
It's like if you walk like 50 feet away and then hit the thing you hit R2 on the thing to warp over here, then the characters are like, oh, he walked away, you know?
Yeah.
So it's able to be like reactive and not like kind of guessing of what you're doing or not.
Yeah.
Like they could probably tell if you're looking at a character or not, but like they never go quite that far.
Yeah. Well, like even Half-Life 2 can do that.
Yeah. You have to throw the can at the guard.
Yeah, throw the can at the guard. Like I know that, again, Wheatley knows if you're looking at him or not because there's an entire gag based on him turning. Like he needs you to turn around so he can hack a terminal, and if you don't turn around, like he has like 3 or 4 minutes straight dialogue. It's like, no, can't really do it if you don't turn around. Don't really feel comfortable right now.
Yeah, this really does have that same energy of like them putting in way more dialogue than they need to for stuff like. If you're not going to cooperate.
Yeah. Like, and if I was making a game, that's the dumb shit I would do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's like you're getting a lot of entertainment value by just having this voice actor improv for 5 minutes, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Get your value out of that voice actor.
Yeah, especially when they're doing every single character, probably. God, some of the incidental dialogues though get kind of nasty.
Oh well, I mean, given where it's coming from, I'm not surprised.
There's like 2 guards that stand on a bridge or like on a castle wall that like taunt you like, haha, you can't get up here. And then I swear at some point I swear they're like, anyways, I really want to fuck you up the ass. Yeah. you want to bend me over and fuck me, huh? Yeah. Oh, that's all I can think about. It just goes on and on too for like 5 minutes.
Like how Rhett's acting like this is vulgar and nasty when he says worse shit to me in Twitter DMs every day.
But it's just having these characters voice it for like 6 minutes. And
it's just like you really get a stiffy for cartoon characters saying bad things.
Well,
like the first time you watched The Simpsons and Homer said "damn" was like your biggest moment.
I mean, there's a weird point at some of them where it's like, should I just walk away? Do I have to experience all of the content of this video game?
Yes.
Or am I just going to sit here for 5 minutes every single time characters won't stop talking?
Like, that would be me. Like, look, man, when I played Wonder Song, I wanted to get everything I could out of every interaction. Like, that would be me playing that game. It's like, I'm getting everything out of this game. I am trying. Yeah. And that's what this kind of game is for. It's to play. Yeah. Come on, you play in these games.
or sometimes you sit and watch. And keep in mind, you're also in VR.
Yeah.
So I'm just looking up at these two characters who just keep talking for 5 minutes about wanting to bang each other.
I'm fine with that. Like, I'm here for that kind of dumbassery.
So yeah, and then a lot of the conversations will eventually end with like, and now, okay, I'm sick of talking anyways. I'm going to go stare in that direction and stop talking ever again. Like, it's so on the nose at points. It's like,
this is the kind of dumb humor that I would write.
Yeah. Let's meditate for a while. Okay, we're going to close our eyes and get real quiet for a while.
Probably the rest of the game.
Yeah, until you walk over and kill them, obviously. Because there is gameplay in this. It's kind of a 3D beat 'em up. It's a very easy one.
Rudimentary.
But like, again, VR just kind of makes everything more interesting.
Yeah.
That it kind of has the right to be. What I find really fascinating about this is like you start out at a ground level viewpoint because you're a character literally called a Chairorpian, like an alien race of people that only sit in chairs. And Trover himself is an eye hole monster because you get upgrades and he puts them in his eyes. So
makes sense.
Yes, it's super stupid. So you're a Chairorpian, which is why you have to stay in your chair and can only teleport between these specified warp points. But pretty early in the game, you get an upgrade that will boost your chair like 20 feet into the air, and then you can do it twice. Mm-hmm. So at that point, it's basically you're getting a top-down viewpoint, so you're having to really look down to see what's below you. And I thought that was really interesting because it gives you a gameplay appropriate viewpoint for platforming. Mm-hmm. But then if you want, like, for the combat, it's real kind of intimidating when you're on the ground level and like these characters are running around you like sword fighting and they're just right in your face.
That's I can see
that like the sense of scale is really impressive. Like when you're like, oh, all these characters are like way taller than me. But then if you want, you can just pop up into the air and kind of have a more gamey, like distant view experience. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And so it's cool having a game that balances both of those because I think VR stuff is always way more impressive when it's super close to you. But it's not great from a gamey point of view. So having both at the click of a button is really nice.
Yeah, that's smart.
Yeah, and then there's some other stuff like there was that Psychonauts game a couple of years ago. It kind of borrows some stuff for that where you get telekinetic powers yourself and can kind of pick up and throw blocks in the environment. And then like if an enemy drops a sword, you can pick it up yourself and then hurl it at an enemy.
Oh, neat.
Like again, it's very basic stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's a fun game. It's I read a review of it after I finished it that was like, this game is about nihilism, and after the ending I was like, yep.
Yeah.
This game, it goes for it. I've never quite had the experience of finishing a game as when I finished this one, where I was just like, game end, huh?
Yeah, I can see that. That's kind of like I can see that general attitude coming from this kind of game and like the way it presents itself.
It kind of maybe came a bit out of the blue where it's like, you just fuck everything, right? Fuck everything. Like that's this game's viewpoint. It's fuck everything.
I mean, that's kind of where I'm at right now. So
yeah, I get that.
So yeah, like I'm.
But yeah, as a comedy, I think it works, and then as like an experiment in 3D platformers, it's also interesting where it's like, I could totally see now how you could do like Super Mario Odyssey in this kind of warp point system of like having the camera warp between these points and then being able to adjust the height so you can actually make jumps and see distances.
But you'd obviously want to make a more interesting game than Super Mario Odyssey.
But I think just the way the levels in this are structured are actually fairly similar to that, where it's kind of these open and because you don't necessarily have. It's fairly linear, but there are a few side detours.
Well, hopefully you're not tripping over a moon every 6 steps.
No, you're not
because
doing that.
Because the dopamines in your brain are not getting they're
you're
not
tripping
getting
over
activated
dick jokes
enough.
every 6 seconds.
Well, I can deal with that. That's fine.
Yeah. So that's Trover Saves the Universe. John!
Yeah?
What you been up to?
So probably brought up Shinkai, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was setting up for a super cool transition.
It's the anime episode.
I saw the new Shinkai movie, Weathering with You, in theaters.
Mm.
It's not available anywhere at all now because it was a limited run.
Very limited.
So I'm not going to talk at length about it.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't want to hear at all, then maybe tune out for a little bit. I'll post something in chat when I'm done.
Is it a Shinkai movie?
It's
so you haven't seen the older ones. Like that used to mean something to me.
Like Shinkai movie to me is literally, oh look, two people pining for each other, and
They want to go to a place further than the universe.
Yeah, like, man, I liked 5 centimeters per second, but ever since it's just been like, man, you keep writing the same boring fucking story. Your name is hot garbage.
Oh, so boy. I rewatched Your Name. I asked for it for Christmas on Blu-ray, and I got it, and I watched it with my family, and we all loved it because it's great.
Again, I haven't watched trying to make family hate anime. Good job.
And they all had a great time, and we liked it because it's very pretty and also a very nice, good story.
Man, I just didn't feel the body swapping shit meant anything. Nobody learned anything.
Yeah,
it's just
that movie just makes me mad because it's wasted potential.
I don't understand that. It's
two movies smashed together. There's the body swapping stuff, which amounts to nothing, and then there's the time travel movie, which is all right.
It's just that like you could have had like the body swap movie, but instead, which would have just been like a pretty normal thing, just kind of going boop ba-doop ba-doop ba-doop. Oh, we've learned our lessons and da da da. There's the movie. Instead, they just have this big turn right in the middle, and things go in a completely new direction, and it's all informed by all the body swapping stuff. But I really liked that direction. I thought it made me think about the Hitchcock movie Vertigo, where like halfway through the movie, it just is like, nope, we're doing something different now, and it's just this completely weird turn, but everything that came before it has to be there for that stuff after that to make sense. So I really connected with it.
So for me to make that connection, I would have to watch Your Name again, and I'm never doing that.
That's so okay. I'm not convinced that it's like intense, essential. Maybe it's because I'm colored by Weathering with You a little bit. Which I did see, and it is just Your Name again.
Oh, okay.
It's a Shinkai movie.
Boy, oh boy.
I don't know. I don't think it's the Shinkai movie that what that used to mean. I think it is. Now he's doing Your Name again.
It's the parody of what Shinkai movie actually like. Shinkai movie means something, but then there's the parody of it that I basically subscribe to now.
And it's just that Weathering with You just has the exact same shape as Your Name, where like we have the thing progressing, and then halfway through we have the big turn, and then literally like the ending sequence progresses like very, very closely. Like shot wise, it looks very similar. It's real rough, except that instead of it being this weird turn, that like was cool and surprising, and then the cool time travel thing, it just goes in exactly the way you expect it's going to, and then things just kind of progress pretty much just how you expect through to the end of the movie. And that kind of bummed me out a little bit because it felt like this very simple story, but it was almost 2 hours long, and it didn't feel like it needed to be because it wasn't. It didn't feel like it felt like it would be this cool 80-minute fable.
Man,
like,
that's what I used to like about Shinkai movies, is that they used to be 50 to 70 minutes long, and they got in, did their thing, and it was nice. But now it's like they're bloated in a way that Ghibli movies are, and it just...
I see that comparison.
It's like that. Like, I feel like the people that are financing Shinkai's movies now are like, well, you're the next Studio Ghibli, so...
Make all the money you want.
Here's all the money, and your movies have to be 2.5 hours long and boring.
Yeah, like again, Your Name. Like I was just invested the whole time. It keeps going in these, like the big sequence in the middle where he's goes and drinks the sake in the cave, and it's just like that's sort of next level for me. How that progresses, and then the final body swap there in the end, and then. The way it goes from this really exciting kind of sort of action climax with the meteor and to them talking but not talking on the cliffside, and then writing the names but not quite, and then the Shinkai movie at the end. So I think how Rhett described it. Cool, great. This one is just like, it just kind of keeps going in the way you think it's going to. And when it gets sad in exactly the way, it's like very strictly set up, and it's set up in like, it's like 20 minutes in, they say, this is the bad thing that's going to happen. And then an hour in, the bad thing that's going to happen happens. And it's like, oh, okay. And it has this extended thing of the boy longing and running and
I can literally see the shot. I can see this movie shot for shot in my head.
Yeah. And I think the thing that kind of really hurt it for me is just that the lady character is just very passive. Just like, she does not really drive the story at all. It's pretty much just this boy. And there's a couple parts where it seems like it's going to have some kind of like edge or bite to it, and then it just kind of chickens out. It doesn't. Like, it does not. Like, there's a gun in this movie that is introduced early on.
Whoa!
And
Chekhov's gun.
A gun in the first act.
There's a gun in the first act, and it might show up again later. And it just, there's no, like, they introduce this like weight and violence, and it doesn't really pay off in any way.
Yeah.
So I think I'm just like, so I was in a bad mood when I went to the movie, because somebody was rude to me right before it, and I was just sitting there just like the whole time, like, I'm sorry, I just mad. But yeah, that part just, there's just a number of things that just kind of bothered me throughout it, and I went online and everyone really loved it, and I was like, oh, okay.
Okay.
And I remember, like, I haven't seen a Hosoda movie since Wolf Children, and I came out of that one just kind of like, I think a big thing with Japanese animation is that a lot of Western critics, that just the style and the presentation is so fresh and new because they have quiet moments, they have long shots to establish atmosphere, they have just this whole style of animation presentation that's not really present in a lot of Western stuff.
Right.
And I think that impresses people so much that the actually talking about the story kind of takes a bit of a backseat to that. And I think that's, like you're talking about Studio Ghibli stuff, I think that's a big, like, I like a lot of those movies. I think that explains a lot of, it's more the way these stories are told is what people are connecting with.
Yeah.
And with this one, I was just like, yeah, I get it. This way the story is told is very nice. I appreciate that. But there's something here that doesn't feel quite right. And it's beautiful at being what it is and everything. It's just like coming right off of Your Name was a real bad call.
Yeah.
So
it sounds like, I don't know, it does sound like the whole bad mood before you went in to see it, and then also having just seen Your Name, like, that is kind of
it was a bad combo.
It's a bad combo, yeah.
Because it's very good at basically being that, but it's the combo of the weird gender politics and the very like straightforward structure and feeling kind of bloated. So I can't. That was like I kind of extending that like olive branch, like, hey, I didn't really like this one at least. I kind of get this Shinkai. Right. Not liking this one. This one, I don't think this would be your jam, Polly.
No, I'm pretty much, I'm skipping it entirely.
I want to watch some of the old Shinkais now, though. At least
you should. I want to see you deep dive through all his movies in chronological order and be like, oh, it's just the same movie 5 times in a row or whatever.
Yeah. He worked as an animator. He worked as an animator at Falcom before hitting it big.
Oh wow,
interesting. But like he made 5 centimeter seconds, which I watched ages ago, and it was 60 minutes, and he made 20-minute short films, and like, yes, thank you. That's what I want for.
I think all of his small pieces are his best work. Like most of the feature stuff, it's just like, oh my god. Like I think there was like the Place Promised in our early days, which is like, yeah, dude, this literally could have been 40 minutes.
Oof. It's the names. I'm still laughing about how A Place Further Than the Universe just literally sounds like a Shinkai movie.
Yeah.
It just has that same sense of longing and distance, you know?
It really does.
I remember when I first brought it up in Sockscast, be like, okay, I know this sounds like a Shinkai movie, but it's not. This one's good, I promise.
It's that feeling of like, okay, I get the intensity of the feeling that you're going for. Can you please make characters that feel like people?
Yeah.
Can I just have a story about some people instead of about this longing?
Like, that's the thing, is like, longing is the only character Makoto Shinkai knows how to write. And that's not even a character. Longing is not a character. The guy doesn't know how to write characters. I don't think the guy knows what people are.
Man longing for a woman.
Man longing for a woman.
God,
that's literally it.
I think he would be a great collaborator with somebody else who can write story and characters and still have that. Because I can appreciate just wanting this one vibe.
Yeah.
So badly. He's longing for that feeling in all of his movies. But, like, I just never have felt the characters or stories in, like, any of them.
So, I don't know. That was my Your Name. That was my one adventure there. And one other thing I kind of wanted to bring up.
Go for it. Yeah.
This has been like 4 months.
Oh wow!
I went on.
Well, this is the backlog episode.
Yeah,
I know. No, it's been like over the process of 4 months.
Oh.
I did a deep dive on a bunch of Joan of Arc media.
Oh God, yeah. Can't imagine what spawned this.
And I wanted to know how that kind of felt from the other side of that, since I never really talked about it on here. But like a full year ago, I finished Eight Apocrypha, and I was like, God,
yep, that's what I thought.
Fucking hate Joan of Arc in this story.
Yeah, she's pretty bad.
Fucking worst. I hate her. I hate everything about how she's written and designed, and I hate her dumb love story. And then I was like, that was a real person. It kind of sucks that my only image of this real person is this awful.
Yeah.
This awful anime. That's still my least favorite Fate thing.
Really? You need to check out that original Fate Stay Night anime then, because, oh boy, it's a stinker.
At least it's based on a strong story.
No, it's not. No, it's not at all.
It's strong. It has to be stronger than Fate fucking Apocrypha.
But it's based on your least favorite route of the 3, right?
I know, but and
then it's also a bad adaptation, just straight out.
Fate Apocrypha is it's trying to be both a bad version of Fate Zero and a bad version of the first route of Fate Stay Night. Those are the two competing things there. The Joan love story is just Fate Stay Night Route 1.
Yeah.
But
I noticed,
even though it's the worst love story in that game, it's still much worse than Fate Apocrypha.
Yeah, I noticed watching Fate Zero again recently how many things like Apocrypha just tries to kind of crib from it, and, make reference to, and the fact that Jean actually does show up in Fate Zero, I'd forgotten about. And I read that they had just finished her design and was like, let's throw her in the anime adaptation we're doing. It's weird.
Yeah, and then when he wrote Fate Go chapters about Joan of Arc specifically, he made Bluebeard the big bad, and he just steals a bunch of Fate Zero characters, and it's just the worst. It's no, you don't know how to write these people. You don't know how to write people. So that's fine. Whatever. Higashide doesn't matter. I watched the 1928 silent movie Joan of Arc story, and I cried a lot. Because it's really well done. It's really exaggerated. It's very much
well, it's a silent movie. It has to be.
It has to be. It's about the trial of Joan of Arc when she's basically sold to the English for a bogus church trial.
Yeah. And
then sentenced to death ultimately, and it's really happened, and it's a big old bummer, and it's this miserable, pretty tightly paced movie, where just all of the judges you see from low angles just cast in shadow, and they just look like demons. And then every shot, and then half the quarter of the movie is just Joan's face in close up and just in awful pain, emotional pain.
Man, that's such a weird vibe.
And then she's killed at the end. It's very, very sad. And I was just oh, I'm really connecting with this. I guess It's not just you don't just have to get good stories about women suffering from anime and video
Oh
games.
my god!
But that was like the shallow, immediate reaction. I was just recognizing, like, okay, this is why I was connecting with this on a visceral level. Let's maybe dive a bit deeper. And then the 1962 movie was specifically by a guy that did not like that movie. and was actually French, the first actually French person to do this story. And it's about the same thing, her trial. And it's 60 minutes. And it's very mundane and talky. And it pulls as much stuff from the actual records of her trial, which we have. We have, like, very detailed records of Joan of Arc's trial. Like, we know more about her than basically anybody else from that time frame because we have these 5 months of trials from people writing these down, and another trial 25 years later where they're bringing the trial of reconciliation, where they're like, oh, maybe she wasn't a witch or a heretic.
Yeah.
And that second movie was just like, it was like different on a few very key points, and just tells it in kind of a much more mundane and human way. And that, I think, kind of complicated things enough in my brain where it's like, okay, now I'm not kind of interested in this just from, like, the immediate, like, oh, this is an emotional.
I'm having a great time watching women suffer. It goes from that to something a little more, not really wholesome, but more with more of a construction.
More human, more actually based in reality, I think, than just, like, I really connect with martyr stories in general. Like, that I just connect with that.
Mm-hmm.
And then this was like, okay, this is an actual person. So I actually nabbed a biography, which took me like 3 months to get through, because then I started reading it and I realized, oh, this is a textbook. And I didn't even read textbooks.
Oh, whoops.
And I was just like, so I just very slowly got through that. And I came to realize just, like, the 1962 movie is very historically accurate in comparison.
Oh. Mm.
And I just got through this whole thing and it was like, oh, cool. There's a bunch of, like, these little dramas as you learn about, like, the political stuff going on around this, like, this one battle or whatnot that she led.
Mm-hmm.
And it was interesting to, like, read something just completely based in the actual historical documents we have access to and have it be kind of exciting as a story in certain points.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, okay, now I kind of get why a bunch of fantasy nerds are also, like, history nerds. Like, you're just how you pull these kinds of political stuff, squabbles, and just people, and then build your own stories out of that. So that was a very cool, interesting arc to go on. It just, like, starting off with a version of the character I hated, and then going to this version of the story that gutted my heart and tore it through a bunch of knives, and then going to, okay, but what was this actual person? And then kind of trying to deep dive that and get a better sense of it. And I thought it was really fun and cool.
There you go.
Okay, so when do you watch The Messenger?
Yeah.
I did not watch The Messenger. I did watch the...
That's next,
When
right?
do I? I watched the 2017 heavy metal musical version called Jeanette.
Oh,
the childhood of Joan of Arc. And I got my mom to watch it with me. I had no idea what it was going to be like, and it's extremely dense and, like, weird and esoteric and French.
Huh.
And it was I recommend that one the least among them, but I appreciate what it was going for, but it's almost 2 hours long, and it feels it feels so long. Oh man. My mom and I kind of were pausing and saying, it's like, it seems like the vibe they're kind of going for is that it's like a grade school play version of the story they're trying to tell, because they can't sing and they can't really act, and that's sort of it. But it seems like that's intentional, and then they just kept doing that. It's like, okay, cool, and then nothing happens because it's just about her childhood. So she just leaves at the end, like, okay, gonna go save France now.
Well, there you go.
So that I had a variety. My mom was a saint for watching through that with me.
Man, the people that have to put up with you have to put up with a lot.
But it's worth it for all my glowing good qualities.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Because I'm like a ray of sunshine in everyone's life.
Uh-huh.
So it's worth putting up with some of the eccentricities. And that's
John,
basically yeah.
I thought of a joke earlier. Can you give me a redo for one part? You said
Okay.
you really connect with martyr stories.
Mm-hmm.
I really connect with martyr stories.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you say martyr stories or murder stories?
Oh, I got a joke too.
Okay.
What is Jesus Christ's favorite department store?
What?
Walmarter.
Great.
There you go. That's your the comedy portion, the required comedy portion.
Yeah.
Of the podcast that we have to do. It's government mandated now in order for us to actually be able to do this. So there you go. There's your 20 required 20 seconds of comedy.
Did you ever watch Last Temptation of Christ, by the way?
No.
Your Scorsese binge?
I did not get around to it, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. I just know I promised to watch that if you watched it, because I was like, oh, let's do more martyr stuff.
Did you watch it?
No, I didn't. Not yet.
Oh, well, then we'll have to watch it and we'll report here next time.
Excellent. That sounds like fun.
I've seen it, but I did not rewatch it. Oh,
but okay. I know it's that's the one with Willem Dafoe as Jesus.
Yes.
Oh, I'm thinking of something different, obviously. Then
this is Scorsese. It's weird.
Yeah, this is
What was the other
weird
big
Scorsese
movie? Like
it's not the Mel Gibson torture porn.
Oh, okay.
The Passion of the Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not really interested in that.
No, that's boring bullshit.
Yeah, we're dying. This is Scorsese. Makes good movies.
Okay, cool.
So I think I saw Knives Out and it fucking ruled. Everyone should see it. I'm not going to say another word about it, basically, because you should just see it.
It's a good Radiohead song.
Thank you, Polly. It's driving me nuts. That's all I can think of.
It's a good Radiohead song from the best Radiohead album.
I don't know if I'd go that far.
Amnesiac is better than Kid A.
Fuck you.
You're not going to find any friends with that take, sorry.
Probably not, but I will ride that take to the grave.
Hey, I believe in your ideal.
Aww.
Live your best life.
I am done. That's all my stuff. Right, Polly.
Yo!
Polly.
What else have you been up to?
Played a video game.
Oh.
Speaking of going to backlogs, I've actually owned this game once before. Back in I remember actually buying these games shortly after they came out and just never playing them. And then I lost them in a move. But I was able to reacquire them late last year. Brand new still, which was surprising for like $15 to $18 a piece.
Nice.
Which is real surprising when you consider PS2 RPGs are very, very, very expensive now. These things only go up in value, but for some reason, a lot of this Atlas stuff from the era, except maybe Devil Summoner, those games are expensive as fuck. Those are like $64 to $100 a piece. But like Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne and things like that, and the Persona games, those things are still pretty cheap. But I picked up Digital Devil Saga 1 and 2, or reacquired them. Never got to play them, so I played through the first one this past week. So there you go. That's
you got through the whole damn thing.
Pardon?
You got through the whole damn thing.
Yeah, Digital Devil Saga. Digital Devil Saga is brisk as fuck. I finished this game in like 34 hours. Like, and for a big RPG like this, I was expecting it to be a little longer. I was thinking, okay, this is easily going to probably hit 50 hours. So, but yeah, like this is real fucking brisk for one of these games. So the first thing you need to know is Digital Devil Saga is not a Shin Megami Tensei game. It was never developed as one. Its original title in Japan has never had that moniker.
Interesting.
It's just the Digital Devil Saga Avatar Tuner, I believe.
It just has the same Digital Devil. The Digital Devil story was the one for the first Mega 10.
Correct.
Okay. So it was like
it has like it was originally being
series.
it was originally being written by someone else. I believe her name is Uida or something, or Ugoda or something. I don't remember her name now. You should do research before you talk about things you're going to talk about, shouldn't you? Not on this podcast, you don't. So despite that, so despite, not really being a Shin Megami Tensei game, It still has like a bunch of Nocturne assets and demons and shit.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a game that's a dungeon crawler with more of a focus on its story and characters, and it's got slightly higher presentation values than you would have seen in Nocturne. Like, this has actual cutscenes and voice dialogue, characters interacting with one another instead of just kind of like these one-off text box only interactions with demons that you tend to get in Megaten games. Like this one, it feels like, even though it's not directly a Megaten game, this feels like them this feels like their first stab at making that series more to have more mainstream appeal. Just because of the way it's presented, like with characters kind of front and center. Like, this is not a game that has you collecting demons. You are demons. So the story starts out, it's like you're in this place. It's just like for some unknown reason, it's just locked in a state of perpetual war between 7 distinct tribes, and they're constantly vying for control. It's called the Junkyard. It's always raining. It's always dismal and terrible. And then one day, the entire area just becomes infected with a virus that gives everyone the ability to turn into demons. And the big central computer brain that governs everything tells them, oh, by the way, you got to kill each other and eat each other if you're going to survive. And only one tribe, when only one tribe remains, y'all get to go to a place called Nirvana, which we're not really sure what that is. But so long as you have the magical Deus Ex Machina girl with you, you get to go to Nirvana, and everything will be nice and neat and happy.
As long as you kill everybody else.
As long as you kill everybody else. Like that, it's a game that really focuses on that whole idea of eating other people, but they never really, like, you never get the impression that that's what's happening. Like it even plays a central role in battles, and that, like, when you beat your enemies, you're technically eating them, but like it's like a weird conceit that never really feels followed through on, because I don't think they had the balls to.
Okay.
Like, because I don't know if they knew or felt that they could push the boundaries in that way back then, because you never really see anybody get eaten. It's just
cowardice.
And that's not me, like, trying to be gross or anything about it. It's just, like, it's a weird thing to be such a central concept to the game, but I never really felt like it mattered at all. Like, yeah, people kind of get a little crazy if the story dictates they haven't eaten in a while, I guess, but...
How does it compare with the gun head in Persona 3? Like, is that kind of a conceit?
Well,
that's like another like very striking visual or idea that plays into a bunch of stuff.
I think that the evoker stuff is actually followed through on, though. I feel that it symbolizes something, and they follow through on that symbolism. Whereas, like, the eating stuff is just, well, you keep telling me that this is a thing that happened, but I've literally never seen it put in practice. Like, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like they could even have like even I feel like to make this to have sold the idea a little bit, they could have just had like maybe enemies that were kind of crazed in portions of dungeons where you just kind of see them like gnawing on corpses or something, like kind of just littered around the areas. But there's not even that. It's just like a weird conceit that they keep talking about, but I never see, and I feel disconnected from it. Like, I don't really... like, as important as the story tries to make it out to be, I feel real disconnected from it.
I get what that would get under your skin, where it's like, this is a very violent thing you're evoking right now, but you're not following through on it, so why even bother?
Yeah, and that's... Yeah, like, but the story is kind of just, like, largely set up for the second game, honestly. Like, this game is getting you familiar with the characters. It's letting you know that things are real fucked. And that there are things that lie way deeper, and that by the end of this game, we're only going to scratch the surface of what's going on. So you got to kind of go into this game getting used to that. But I imagine if you're going into something that's Mega 10 adjacent, you're probably okay with the story. Maybe not. Like, even though this game does focus more on its story and characters, you're probably still okay with it. Just like, okay, I'm probably here for all of like the squishy dungeon crawling,
the dungeons,
stuff.
yeah,
and the that story stuff. It's there. It's nice. It's good window dressing, and I like the characters. I like their interactions, and I like the implications of the things that are going on. It's just the unfortunate part of like that major part of your world that I don't connect with because you aren't
committing.
Yeah, you're not committing, and that makes it feel real weird to me. But hey, it's a dungeon crawler through and through. So you got your nice big dungeons, and the dungeon design is kind of, well, it's mostly straightforward. I feel like there's like the first couple major dungeons kind of share the same gimmick though, where it's like you went through the wrong thing, so we dropped you to a lower level. They kind of they repeat that like 2 dungeons in a row, and then there's a dungeon near the end of the game that's kind of maddening because it's a big old teleporter maze.
Oh, good! Oh man, this is classic.
My favorite.
This is classic shit.
But it's not too. It's not too over the top.
Sorry.
It's not too over the top in terms of just being like like I think some of the stuff that I've seen in Nocturne puts a lot of the puzzly dungeon stuff in this to shame. But yeah, like just be aware that like maybe the dungeon design could have been a smidge more. Like, I don't know. Like, if I'm playing a dungeon crawler, I probably just want to, like, give me some mazes, give me some things to fight, make me stretch my resources thin. That's what this game is good at. It's good at doing that. The character progression system is different in that, like I said, you don't collect demons in this game. You are the demons. So instead of collecting demons, you have to collect abilities. And this is brought in through the mantra system, where... think of it as sort of like espers, where you equip a mantra on a character, and then they start learning abilities under that mantra. So, like, you equip a mantra, and it's got anywhere from 1 to 4 abilities. And once you've mastered the mantra, you just get all 4 abilities. 1 to 4 abilities, and you can set those in your character. So you can have up to 8 abilities set per character at a time. So a lot of this game's strategy boils down to how you're setting up your abilities and what you're learning. And it's definitely a system that could lend itself to grinding. But I only found myself grinding for I only grinded for 1 hour, and it was just to grab one ability that let all of my characters get experience, even if they weren't in battle.
Nice. That's a good one to grind for early on, I think. Yeah,
it's a very good ability to get. It's the only one I stopped to grind for. But what keeps the system from being really grindy, though, is since the press turn system, which is basically kind of Shin Megami Tensei's calling card once Nocturne hit. The press turn system is exploiting weaknesses to get more turns. And this system kind of leans into that by helping you, when you exploit weaknesses, there's a chance that enemies can become scared. And when they become scared, you can devour them easier. So if you devour an enemy, you get more Atma points, which lets you max out your mantras quicker. So it really kind of leans into you using the devour and hunting abilities more to finish enemies off, rather than just kind of wiping them out the way you normally would in a dungeon crawler. So you kind of think a little more tactically, with a little more tactics involved, and how you want, if you want to focus on a character learning a specific set of skills, you can do that if you want. Let's see, what else? I mean, it's not a bad system. I had a lot of fun working with the system. Building for bosses is obviously what this game is, and most Shin Megami
just sort of the
Tensei
Mega 10 thing.
Yeah, building for bosses, and I basically enjoyed pretty much all of the boss encounters in this game. They were fun little puzzle boxes to figure out. A lot of the time, you're gonna go in, it's that dungeon crawler cycle of you got to go in, you got to find out what the boss does, so you know what to prepare for. Typically. So your first shot's typically going to end in failure, right? That's just kind of how these games work. But there were a number of times where I went in and was able to adapt, because you can swap party members in and out. using the press turn system too. So like if a character is completely useless, I'm not just stuck with them until I die. I can just swap them out and pull in a character who would be more effective. And I actually ended up first trying a lot of the bosses in this game, surprisingly. So like I would say if Shin Megami Tensei is something you're interested in, but like Nocturne is very scary for you, which I think it should be.
Is, yeah, that makes sense.
That game is a lot. Like I've only played 10 hours of that game, and like what lies beyond that 10 hours of that game still scares me. I think this is the year where we should all play that game, though.
I think that's a great idea. Yeah.
We need to get right. We need to get right to play it too.
I will tell you, Nocturne scares me. I was kind of eyeballing this one as like, hey, I could start with Digital Devil Saga, and then like when I go to Nocturne, it won't be as dramatic a leap because that game is terrifying.
Yeah, like this game absolutely. This game is absolutely more accessible. It's still going to beat your ass. Like it's still a pretty hard game, but I don't think that I had the kind of moments where. Like, I've played moments of Nocturne where it's just like, okay, I can put the controller down because the video game does not want me playing anymore until my party's dead. Whereas this game, like, you definitely have moments that can come close to that, but it feels a lot easier to slug your way out. Like, I feel that this game open to a little more brute force methods, whereas something like Nocturne, you've probably got to put a little more focus in how you're actively training your characters and what demons you have, whereas this game has 5 characters that you have to keep track of at all times, and that's not a lot. And the way you learn skills is pretty linear. Like, you go along, everybody has access to the same mantra grid, so you can either make everybody learn everything or specialize, which I just chose to specialize because I think that having a team that can do everything, like where every character can do everything, is boring. So I was just like, this character is going to be my wind character. This character is going to be my fire character. This character is going to be my physical character. This character is going to be my healer, etc., etc.
And that like makes for less grinding too if you can specialize smartly.
Exactly. And if you're making use of hunt skills the way you should be, then like you're going to be learning. You will be learning everything you need to learn on your way to the boss of every area, because every dungeon is big enough that you're going to gain enough levels and enough Atma points that you'll probably be fine by the time you reach the boss. And if you do have to grind, I don't think that it would be a lot. Like, I didn't run into a boss where it was just like, there's only one way to beat this. Whereas I feel a lot of dungeon crawlers can fall into that trap where it's just
especially Nocturne.
Yeah, where it's just like, I don't know how you would do this without an X character with X ability. But yeah, this is definitely a lot more accessible than Nocturne. If you're looking for a dungeon crawler to try out that maybe isn't as intimidating as something like Etrian Odyssey or Wizardry or any other mainline Megaten game, like Digital Devil Saga is probably a good way to go. I know that these games are available on PS2 Classics too.
That's the cool thing, is I can actually download these and play them on my PS3.
The only thing I'm not sure if they fixed it, but I think that the cutscenes are screwed up in the PS3 versions, where like the dialogue is offset, like the sound is offset from the in-game cutscenes. So
bummer.
So you might have to watch those on YouTube. But yeah, like other than that, like they're just really solid dungeon crawlers where like. Yeah, like I had a good time. It's brisk. Like I like I said, I was expecting a 50-hour RPG fest when I started this up, and then like I literally finished it like 4 or 5 days after I started it, which was really surprising.
That's another good thing, because Nocturne is like 50 hours on the sites. So,
yeah, I think Poncho just finished Nocturne, and I think he clocked like 70 hours.
God.
So
yeah. So that's a real beefy one. This is part 1 of 2.
Yes, this is part 1 of 2. And Beepner says in chat that the eating theme matters a bit more in one part of 2. So I have started playing Digital Devil Saga 2. I'm not going to talk about it a whole lot right now. I'll just say that like this game, Digital Devil Saga 1, it comes to an exciting conclusion and leaves just the right amount of questions unanswered to where it was just like,
Nice.
Like, where it was just like, normally, like, when I play a game and there's a sequel, it's like, okay, I'll come back to this later. Like, I was just like, I told myself that after finishing this, but it was just like, maybe like a day and a half later, I was like, all right, let's play Digital Devil Saga 2.
Nice.
Nice.
But I really,
the
really
wholesome version of my Suikoden experience.
Yeah, this is a much better version of your Suikoden experience. But I really like the atmosphere of this game. Like, just the junkyard is just so dismal and dank and dark, and it's always raining, and it's just crappy. And I feel that, like, the PS2 has a way of presenting that kind of atmosphere in a way that I don't think other consoles can. Like, there's like just kind of a dinginess to it that I really like. That's presented really well here, and like the music is really good. Unsurprisingly, it's Shoji Meguro, but it's like this laid back kind of like airy guitar rock that I was not expecting, but it really matches that rainy atmosphere. So it's just like laid back rainy guitar rock. It's not like going full out like trying to hold your attention or grab your attention and ears in the same way that Persona music does, for instance. Just to kind of use an example of his other work. Whereas this is more subdued, laid back, like the battle theme, like the beats per minute on that thing is pretty low, surprisingly low. And things like that. I think like just as a singular package, Digital Devil Saga 1 is just really well realized and put together, and I had a lot of fun with it, and eager to see where 2 kind of lands me, because I know that because there's definitely some stark differences. But we'll talk about those next time, because like I said, I've already started. I'll probably have finished it by the next time we podcast, so that'll be fun to come back to and revisit in a couple weeks.
Awesome. These games always just kind of look cool. This it seems like the PS2 era is where Mega 10 really started. It's definitely where like connected with Western audiences, because it's when they started coming out.
See, it's a weird thing for me is that like when Digital Devil Saga got brought here is when they put the Shin Megami Tensei name on it, and I had no idea that by that point that Shin Megami Tensei had already kind of established that kind of clout here, where like, because see, like, I would have just put this out as Digital Devil Saga because Digimon was already kind of like a big thing, and with a name like Digital Devil Saga, I think that like you're gonna get stocked kind of close to that Digimon name, and I think that like. It's just and I'm speaking just in terms from a marketing thing, of course, like just kind of like thinking of like if I was a greaseball company person, how would I market this game? And I wouldn't have put the big Japanese name at the start of it. I would have just called it Digital Devil Saga and let people kind of make their own assumptions. But
I wonder if it's like, because Final Fantasy kind of did the same thing with the first few games, where like Final Fantasy Adventure and Final Fantasy Legend, even though like that wasn't really a brand at that point. So I wonder if it's like Shin Megami Tensei wasn't actually a thing yet, so they were trying to make it one by having more games with the name on it. It just kind of seems similar to that, because like Final Fantasy wasn't really a thing here until the second game.
Yeah. It's definitely interesting because I mean I was cognizant of Shin Megami Tensei back then, but I just didn't know that like you would bring over this new IP that is distinctly very. It's not named Shin Megami Tensei, but you kind of just put that name.
That's true.
On
is
it.
that adding the weird Japanese name is actually less accurate to what the original game was.
Yeah. It's an interesting decision.
It's a cool factor.
I suppose.
Shin Megami Tensei. Sharon Megami Tensei.
Persona always had it.
Persona, no, I don't think.
I remember they added Shin Megami Tensei to Persona 4s. Like that wasn't true.
Persona 3,
release, right?
Okay.
Persona 3 and 4 added Shin Megami Tensei, I believe.
So this was a regular thing.
So I think they're just trying to make that the kind of overarching brand. It seems like.
Yeah.
I remember a guy getting really mad at me on Twitter once because I said Persona was a Shin Megami Tensei game.
Okay, Megami Ibunroku Persona was the original game's name in Japan.
Interesting.
It's weird. Look, man, like these games pull from a lot of the same material, and I don't. Whether they have the Shin Megami Tensei name or not, they always kind of will have it, given the fact that it's just... look, you're always pulling from the same demon stock, okay?
Dragon Slayer 6, Legend of the Heroes, Trails in the Sky.
And Biebner has a point that, like, yes, in Digital Devil Saga, it has a Shin Megami Tensei Pantheon, and you literally fight the Demi-Fiend from Nocturne as a secret boss, so... Which is literally one of their bullshit bosses where it's like, grind to 99, and then the boss literally, like, if you go into the boss fight with anything that nulls or reflects any element, the boss instantly just kills you.
What?
That's how
bullshit.
That's how, like, Persona and Shin Megami Tensei have always done their super bosses, where if you protect yourself fully from something, the boss notices that and then just kills you outright with an attack that you can't protect against.
Yeah,
they just always it's bullshit, but it's bullshit tradition.
There's something cute about that. Almost.
Yeah, like I admire that kind of bullshittery.
Uh-huh.
But why doesn't the boss do that normally?
Why wouldn't every boss do that if the Demi-Fiend can do it? Oh, but yeah, Digital Devil Saga is good. Brett, do you have anything else?
I do have one more game that I'll quickly mention.
All right, let's go over it.
I played a game called MO Astray.
I saw you playing this.
Yeah, this is a pixel platformer-ish game on Steam. It has overwhelmingly positive reviews.
Yep.
But it doesn't seem to have gotten a whole lot of traction.
Yeah.
So it's like you're in kind of this destroyed science facility, and you play as this little blob, and you can bounce around, and it's a fairly difficult platformer. Right when I got it, they announced, like, oh, we've just added an easy mode. And, like, they did a weird thing where when the game came out, there was normal and easy. Mm-hmm. And they just renamed the old normal to...
Oh!
Yeah, they did a switcheroo. Like,
that's pretty
they
funny.
renamed the old easy to normal. Uh-huh. They made the old normal, like, veteran mode or something. And then they added a new, even easier mode.
Oh, weird.
So I played on... veteran or adventure or whatever it's called, like the original normal mode, the hardest one. Mm-hmm. And it's a fairly challenging game. I wouldn't put it anywhere near like Meat Boy or Celeste or anything, but it's a platform and there are spikes and you will die, particularly in the back half of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's like
horrors.
Yeah. I think a lot of people just had a hard time adjusting to, I mean, people are kind of bad at platformers in general, but this is a kind of weird one where you're charging up jumps and kind of having to arc yourself in certain ways to make it around these obstacles. And then a bit into the game, you get a double jump, so you can do another bounce in the air, and it kind of pauses time for you so you can line it up. Mm-hmm. That's neat. But I realized about a level or two into this game where I'm like, I'm just not feeling this as much as I wish I was. Mm-hmm. There's something about this game that just never fully grabbed me. Because I think a lot of it is that the story is just told really fragmented, and like there's like comic book sections between the worlds that don't seem to matter at all. Mm-hmm. And then like you come across like not audio logs, but like fragments of dialogue from characters, and like they're bad about putting actual character names to it because they're all like kind of pieced together like what happened in these ruins. So it's just, I don't know. And, like, the gameplay is good. It's just very straightforward. And, like, you've got a level, and then each level will have its own gimmick. And then after 6 levels, you fight a boss, and then rinse and repeat. Like, there's just...
Do you think that, like, given how far this genre has come since Super Meat Boy...
Oh, yeah.
Do you think that, like, because games like Celeste exist now, that it's just really fucking hard to impress with this kind of game?
I think it's really fucking hard to impress with this game.
It's sort of like the Metroidvania thing where it's a little overexposed, maybe.
Yeah. Well, that's what the weird thing about this game is. Like, something about it, just the art style and the vibe of the whole destroyed facility makes you think it's a Metroidvania, and then it's totally not. It's just a completely straight platformer, except that there are a couple hidden areas you can find, like off the beaten path things that will give you a slight health upgrade. And then apparently, if you get all of those, there's a different ending, which I hate. So it's like, it's a...
Gotta fit that shit in there somewhere, I guess.
I know, and then... So I got, like, the bad ending, which was
if
like...
If you're gonna make a fucking hidden ending or a true ending, make the requirements for it make fucking sense. Like, me collecting 100% of something, unless that uniquely ties into the ending in some narrative way, it's just arbitrary game shit that is getting in the way of what you're trying to say.
Yeah, it 100% felt like arbitrary game shit in this one. But, like, just this... I just wish the story had worked for me on basically any level. Because, like, this game, even though it's a basic platform where you're playing as this little blob character, like, the game tries so hard to go big and dramatic at points towards the end.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do you remember the game E.G.?
Yes.
I. Like, this reminded me of that, but it's like, you've got, like, 10 times the production value, and you're just saying nothing to me, and that sucks. But that game also went real big at the end. Mm-hmm. So it's like experiencing that, but like totally stone-faced and like, I could see a world in which this media resonates with me, and it's just not right now, and that sucks.
Like, if it would have been, say, 15 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. Where this game coming out like in 2000, even like 7 or 8, like right kind of before, you know, indies really started to blow up, like it would be like revelatory. Now it's just like another one in the pile, and that sucks.
Yeah. God, it's just such production value, huh?
Yeah,
it's a ton of it, huh?
It kind of is a lot of it. Like, it made me think of how you've moaned about games that have like really pretty pixel art to like
need GIFs.
Yeah, it's just like kind of busy to the point of detracting from visual clarity, I guess.
Yeah.
So it's like, it looks very nice, but it has kind of no identity. And like, I don't hate this game. I think it's fine. I think some of the bosses are maybe a little annoying because it's rather challenging. There's one boss at the end where you have to hit 4 points, and like it checkpoints you after 2 of them, but like 2 of the points are significantly harder to hit than other ones. So I did the 2 easy ones, and then it checkpoints me, and then I'm trying to do the second half of the fight, and I'm just like, I just can't get the thing I need to do into the other 2 points. So I just restarted the whole thing and then beat it my first try, because I'm like, because the boss gets harder as it goes.
Right.
So leaving the 2 harder points to hit to the end is like, you're really screwing yourself over. Because there's 2 right next to the boss and 2 on the other side of the room. Guess which ones are easier?
Has there like Masocore platformer boss design typically kind of like it is really 50-50? Because like all the Super Meat Boy's bosses are bad.
I was gonna say this game's bosses remind me of Super Meat Boy's, but better at least. I think the first one is actually the worst, which is kind of wild. Maybe they just designed it first. I think because, like, you'd think it would be bad because, like, this is a game where, because you're playing this little blob, once you're in a jump, you're committed to it. Yeah. But then once you have that double jump so you can correct yourself once midair, like, it gets better. It's like, it's not that... The bosses are actually pretty good. The first one's kind of annoying because I think it is before you have that double jump and you die pretty easily. Like, it's also not many one-hit kills. Like, you do actually have a life meter and can take some damage, and you regenerate health, which is nice. So, but like the first boss, just like you do 2 hits, and then the third hit is just a pain in the ass, and I just had to keep restarting to figure out what the fuck they wanted me to do, because you have to jump in this like really specific way. But yeah, boss design in platformers has kind of always been weird. Like, even Mario has struggled with that.
I just think that, like, specifically Masocore platformers, just due to the nature of everything almost always being one-hit kills.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think this does mitigate a bit of that by not being always one-hit kills.
That's good.
And some of the bosses just straight up have checkpoints, which helps a lot.
Yeah.
Like, there's one boss, I think it's the second one. The first form took me like several minutes, and then I'm like, and then it changes, and I just immediately died, and I'm like, fuck, and then it checkpointed me. I was like, I'm like, oh my god, you just saved me like an hour and probably quitting this game if I had to do because I died like a whole bunch on the second form.
Uh-huh.
So it's like if I had to do that first 5-minute fight like 20 times in order to figure out what the fuck they wanted me to do for the second part, like I might have just given up there. So like they are smart about stuff like that. Or even like the second to final boss having a checkpoint in it, very forgiving. And then the final boss does not have a checkpoint.
Oh, what?
And I got right to the end and died, and was like, oh, they didn't. Oh, not this time. But that one was fine.
Yeah, it's totally fine. It's totally fine to not have a checkpoint in your final boss. I mean, even you do
Oh,
it.
Jesus. Yeah. I think they do good checkpoints, though, when it's like, hey, the boss is about to throw a huge curveball at you and change forms. Like, hey, maybe
probably a good idea.
You've learned the first form. Let's learn the second form now.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't know. This game, it's such production value, but I feel like I'm not sure it has a lot of heart, and that's such a weird thing to kind of quantify.
That's kind of like the same way I felt about Gato Roboto. Is that it's just like, it's you made a video game.
You're doing that's the vibe. Is like you started out and your goal was that you wanted to make a video game.
Yeah, I guess,
and that can be rough.
I
don't know if this is that, but
yeah, see, I don't think it's that where it's like. This game goes so weirdly big at the end, like kind of comparing it to EG, or like the true final boss of Hollow Knight is another reference point that, like, it's very similar to that, where it
feels like it's going for that.
It's going bizarrely huge for how kind of small scale things had been up to that point.
Right.
And when that stuff doesn't land, it feels really awkward, because that's my jam.
Yeah, that's all of our jam.
But like that's specifically my jam. Like,
yeah, fair.
You know. John, I need to show you a screenshot of the final boss of this game. You'll be like, "What?"
Okay, we'll do. One of the top Steam reviews is that it feels like a more polished Flash game.
What?
Boy,
is it a negative review?
It was like the one negative review I saw.
I was gonna say
everyone seems to really jam with this.
Yeah, like I think that's maybe part of it is that this game has unbelievably good.
It's 1,100 reviews, overwhelmingly positive.
96 of the 1,162. I guess that's not that many, but like this felt like it went really under the radar. So like something to have 1,000 positive reviews is like
1,000 plus is big. Like that's a substantial win for any game on Steam. I think.
Yeah.
Any indie game on Steam.
Well, like
I don't know if it's this will fund us for another 2 years, but it's proportionally a big response.
Just for comparison, Celeste has 14,000 reviews.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's like the mega success. I'm thinking in terms of like
I know.
Yeah.
There's so many levels of success on Steam now at this point. Man, Katana Zero has 16,800. That's more than Celeste.
God, that's so weird.
Yeah, because like I heard significantly less about Katana Zero.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing where I kind of am interested in that because that's by the Tower of Heaven people.
Yeah, that's why I'm mentioning that one. Is because they did Flash games back in the day.
Yeah,
like, oh my God.
They did Massacre Flash games back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
And then they went silent for like 10 years and then make this unbelievably popular indie game.
Remember Pause Ahead? They made that after Tower of Heaven, and it has a bad final boss.
Oh,
I don't know if I ever finished that.
I don't think I did.
It has a very dramatic, very cool, very bad final boss where you die in one hit, so it's rough.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, Beepner finished it.
Nice.
Cool.
So yeah, Emo Astray is good. It's just, I think it's really just the story stuff completely falling flat for me. Like, there's a major character who I didn't know the name of until after beating the game. That just kind of seems like a mistake, if you want me to connect to these characters.
Yeah, it seems like you need to be communicating details.
Anything. Literally
anything. Yeah, okay, anything.
Yeah. Especially if you're going for that big catharsis, mega catharsis ending.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Yeah.
I mean, it was fun. I feel kind of weird dunking on it because it was a gift for Christmas from, I think Gash sent it to me.
Aw.
Isn't this the worst? It's like when you have to dunk on something somebody sent you. It's like, man. In a weird way, just like I sometimes just avoid talking about them.
Yeah.
We have to dig into the dark feelings here in the Sockscast. That's what we're here for.
Yep, somebody's got to do it. Somebody's got to do the dirty work.
Yep.
So I'm not even saying like don't ever check this game out. I'm just saying like maybe keep your expectations a little in check. Like, it's an interesting thing.
Yeah.
So I think that's a podcast.
I think so.
Sounds like a podcast to me. Hey, hopefully by the next time we're all together, we'll have thought about how we're going to do this damn game of the decade thing. And I know we're doing an anime of the decade thing too. And I don't know which we're doing first now because Rhett's over here watching 800 hours of anime in a week. And I don't know how he does it.
It's so much anime, Rhett.
I literally haven't played games since MO Astray though.
Yeah, like that's just insane.
Sort of like how you did play an entire RPG this week.
That's a good point. That is a good point. I started it Friday and finished it like Tuesday.
I couldn't believe the speed you went through that game.
I just fucking tore through it. And like that Saturday was literally like the Saturday after I started it was literally like a 12-hour binge.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. When you binge stuff, you actually get through it very quickly.
Yeah, weird, huh? But yeah, we'll try and get all that shit figured out. We'll let you know. Always be on the lookout for an announcement on the main page if you don't hear it here. So one way or another, we'll get all that shit sorted out soon. So, of course, thanks everybody for coming out. Thank you for the bits and the subs. Always appreciated. Never required, but always appreciated. John Thayer, where can our internet friends find you?
farawaytimes.itch.io.
And Rhett, where can internet pals find you?
My dumb website that I'm never going to update
You're
again.
never going to fucking update.
I've been thinking about like doing a final post that's like the end, and it's like I don't want to actually write that. That hurts too much.
It hurts. It's literally the end of an era if you do that. You're literally closing the book.
It's just like I'm probably not making games anymore. I'm sorry. Bye. Here's a link to Poly Dungeon.
Damn. Guess that just means the three of us are gonna have to make games together now.
Oh,
there you go.
Cool.
It'd be a hell of a lot easier. That's 3 people.
There you go.
I mean, me and John did it with 2 people, and we can attest to the fact that, hey, guess what? Having somebody else there, turns out making a game can be a hell of a lot easier if someone's there helping you.
Aww. Yes, it's very nice.
But anyway, we're going to go ahead and get on out of here. So remember, we are the podcast that loves you. We are the only ones that love you. And the fart came in right at the end.
Oh my god.
Alright, I'm going to send y'all on over to Gremlins Are Us. She is streaming Slay the Spire, so be sure to go over there and give her some love, and we will catch you all next time, probably in 2 weeks. So, get out of here. Go have a good time. Go slay some spires with our girl Grims, and we'll catch you next time.